everybody, and welcome to Hex Token channel. Your host, Superman, in the house. How is everyone doing out there? Hope you're doing good. Man. Boy, a drama on the streets. And, of course, we're no drama channel, so we won't be talking about much of that. But we will be talking about some of the fundamentals. What do we talk about on this channel? We just try to talk about the hard facts and the fundamentals and the tokenomics and all the cool stuff because we know markets go up, markets go down. We know markets have bear markets. We know markets have bull markets. We know that there is FUD and there is FOMO. We know all these things. We know there is risk on, risk off. We know there's Hart's Law. We know all these things. So that's what we talk about on this channel. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to get into everything. We're going to get into the stock market today. We're going to get into crypto, of course. We're going to talk all about Hex. We're going to get into Hex, deep dive on Hex. We're going to be talking about Maximus products, of course, perpetuals. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about COSA. We're talking about the Hex ecosystem tokens. We're going to be doing it all. We're going to jump into Zen, of course, which is having Zen NFTs under 2 days to go for the Zen NFT mints and the burn. We're going to be looking at that cycle of inflation, deflation, and, of course, staking. And what do we say? Possible lending and leverage is the flow of that project. So we're looking at that. We're also going to be looking at, of course, BNBP. That is another big project that's got a new product landing today. The roulette table is expected out in the next hour or two. We're going to talk about that for BNBP. We've got plenty of time. We're going to talk about the Hex Daily Stats. Yes, we are. We're going to talk about Pulsechain. Yes, we are. We're also going to be talking about the Hex Conference, Year 3 Hex Conference. We're going to talk about that's coming up. That's going to be huge. What a way to start off 2023. It's going to be amazing with that on the 6th or the 9th of January. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we've got a few other things to talk about as well. We'll get up to them when they come up. I've got this all laid out today. Let's have a lot of fun. Let's see who's in the house there. We've got a poll. I just got to remember the poll that we got on. Another fun poll. Of course, we've had a bit of a Hex sale on lately. So we're doing these polls about whether you're buying in the Hex sale. We had the new, what was it? We had the Christmas Eve sale. We had the Christmas Day sale. We had the Boxing Day sale. And now we've got the extended sale for New Year's. We've got New Year's sale. And, of course, we're coming up to New Year's. It is currently, what day is it? It's the 29th of December in good old New Zealand, Kiwi land. And, of course, we're in the future by about a day, almost a day, not quite. And, of course, you guys, many of you, if you're northern part of the world, it's still the 28th of December. So we're coming up to New Year's Eve. Of course, the 31st, still a few days away for that. But getting closer and closer, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Absolutely going to have a lot of fun. You guys have fun? Anyway, so let's stay course here. Now, for those that aren't buying crypto at the moment, we're going to be talking about the fundamentals going forward and why things are going to be bright in 23. And, of course, the limitations and challenges. We always face up to the challenges and limitations on this channel. We talk about the pros and cons. But, of course, we're also going to talk about if you're buying, what an opportunity. And, of course, we always say DCA, dollar cost average, is typically the best approach. Especially in these kind of market conditions with volatility, bear market, all that sort of stuff. We're going to get into it all. Let's see who's in the house at the moment. Man, I'm excited today. I don't know about you. It is sunny outside. Maybe that's part of it. It is sunny outside, but it's certainly a lot of fun. Sandy Beach. Hey, good to see you, Sandy Beach, in the house. One of our community moderators as well, and an all-round awesome person there, Sandy Beach. Yay, Sandy Beach. Great to see Sandy in the house. BC in the Matrix as well. Whee! Good to see you. We got Bright Light Crypto. What up? What up? Good to see you, Bright Light, as always. We got Tintop as well. What's up, Hexkins? Says Tintop. Hey, I want to do a special shout out to Randy Alasky. He's been doing some really nice, considered, slow-paced live streams. And, of course, what a great job he's doing. So big shout out to Randy. A lot of experience Randy has. He's been around a long, I think, what year? 2015, 2014? Somewhere in there he was around, so he's been around for a long time, and he's really been adding a lot of support for a lot of people, and particularly in Hexkins Pulsechain community, and of course other communities as well. So a big shout out to Randy Alasky for that. Really appreciate his mature, considered approach there. Michael Racine's in the house. Yeah, boy. Good to see you, Michael. We've got Piers as well. Let's go. Definitely go. Let's go somewhere. We're going somewhere. I think we're going into 2023 soon. That's probably where we're going to be. We've got Hex and SB in the house there, one of our very passionate, of course, Hex Token channel members. We'll catch up later, heading out to the dog park. Hey, Hex and XB, enjoy yourself out there. Humberto Gonzalez, woohoo! I love that name, Humberto Gonzalez. That's an awesome name. It's like a movie star name. Greetings from sunny Miami, crypto capital of the USA. I like that. I like that a lot. And of course, Pierre says Zen is next level. Yeah, we will be talking about Zen later on. We don't shy away from talking about other projects that are pretty interesting. So we're going to be talking about that. Evening, everybody from Check My Pulse. Good to see you, Check My Pulse. Dave Downer says we need V3. We do need V3. I think we could all agree with that. And we're going to be talking about that when we get up to the Hex chart. So stay tuned. We have talked about it several days in a row, but we will cover that again. We need V3, says Humberto Gonzalez. Yeah, we're going to talk about that soon. Superman killing it, says Michael. I appreciate that. Happy New Year. It's from PS there. Yep. What is that last bit there? Is it a rain? What is that? A reindeer? Not sure what that is, that picture there. But anyway, hey, get in there into the poll and vote, please. That would be so great. You know, I love the polls on the channel. It's always so much fun. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, smash the subscribe button, hit the bell, and of course, hit the like button as well. I really do appreciate it, especially during this time. During this time, it's very good. Sandy Beach says, hello, Hex Token, everybody. We got Pulse Demic in the house there. Morning Hex at 0.19 cents. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Certainly a nice, attractive amount to get big volumes. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Unprotected Hex says, I'm having fun. Hexagon Civil War on Twitter at the moment. I just continue to buy all the ecosystems. Yeah, that's probably the best way of doing it. Now, you guys know there's a no drama channel and, of course, what is the other part about? A family channel. That's a no drama channel and a family channel. So we try to stick out. I do see it all, though, of course, when I'm on Twitter posting videos and things. I do see some of the stuff. So it's not like I don't. But yeah, I try to keep out of that stuff. There's some people like to rack up the Hex Pulsechain community because they get more subscribers and followers, right? So just don't fall. A lot of people do fall for that trick, but don't fall for that trick. It's my in terms of engagement. Don't waste your breath on some of it. It's just wasting your time. Focus on the crypto gains and your portfolio. That's what I'd say. A lot of people ask me, they privately on Discord and things like that, they ask me for a bit of advice here and there, or suggestions in any case. And I say to them, you know, just keep out of the drama and focus on your portfolio. Otherwise, if you get stuck in the drama, your portfolio will start to worsen if you're not monitoring it properly, right? So doing risk management and getting into the right projects, things like that, because you start getting into the drama and you get hooked into that and you think that that's actually going to make you crypto gains. Well, it's not. It's going to more likely lose you crypto gains. That's a little bit of advice there, or at least a suggestion, because nothing on this channel is investment advice. Remember that? You must do your own due diligence. Randy is the GOAT, says Pierce. Oh, now I get it. That's a GOAT. Randy is the GOAT. That's true. BC says Randy H is the man. He definitely is awesome. I'm awesome too, says Dave. You are awesome. I like that with the smiley faces there. Mr. D in the house. Mr. D, good to see you live again. At last, a g'day to all Hexagons from the UK. Please explain S-load function you often refer to. Thanks, bro. Yeah, S-load function is just like a memory storage function. And every day the Hex contract runs through the reward pool. And, of course, with your amount of T-shares, and it just basically calculates the reward that you get. And it uses that S-load function. Typically, it runs at the end when you end stake your Hex stake. And it will have to go through every single day. Some people have criticized that, you know, because at the time, it was kind of the thing that the devs did. Some people criticize that, you know, modern devs use different techniques where they don't need the S-load function. And, of course, as I understand, I think the ETH organization has increased the S-load function fee about 8-9 times, something like that. So one of the big advantages of Pulsechain will be able to set the S-load function fee. And, of course, in addition to that, of course, we're expecting Pulsechain to be relatively cheap compared to, say, ETH. So at least to start off with, right? So that's kind of where it is. And, of course, if you're paying an S-load fee and it's going up like 8-9 times, then it gets expensive. And, of course, we do have in-stake calculators in our Discord. So if you go into the useful links under the Hex section, you'll see an in-stake calculation. We have the S-load function in there. And, of course, the estimations there for projection. So hopefully that wasn't too much of a full answer there, Mr. D, but that's kind of how that works. Crypto RD in the house there, Superman. Love the new East Coast streaming time. Me too. Welcome to the East Coast, everybody. Peace. And, of course, Christian's in there. What's up? Good to see you, Christian. This Hex price is setting up for the future. Man, it is definitely setting up. Some people, you know, remember a couple of months back, people were going, oh, I've set my limit orders at 1 cent. I want 1 cent. A few people said, oh, I want 0.007 cents. Well, I'm not sure if we'll get there. I mean, it just depends on how things play out, because nothing is inevitable. That's why I don't like putting absolutes and things, because nothing's inevitable. But we'll see how we go at this stage. We're going to talk about all that in a second, so stay tuned. I don't want to front run myself on that one. This HEX price is setting up for the future. V3 can't come soon enough. Crypto out of the year. So HEX has obviously been tied to the Pulsechain narrative for a long time. So in crypto, all tokens, so there's not one, all tokens in crypto, even stable coins, are all tied to narratives. So that's basically it. So people perceive value in something, and that includes stable coins, right? And HEX is no different. So really, it's about championing a narrative. That narrative does get supported by code and by mathematics, and of course, some of that is great. And some other projects that don't have great tokenomics and they don't have great mathematics set up. So there are separations from a technical level. And of course, HEX has great technicals from that point of view. The other side, of course, is the narrative. So HEX has obviously been tied into Pulsechain, a narrative for quite a while now. What's about a year and a half or so. So that's just part of reality, right? And of course, narratives can go up and down, just like bear and bull markets. We see that play out too. So V3, we're waiting for V3, that's for sure. My little doggy Scooby's birthday is today, 15 and a half years. He's a trooper. That's fantastic. 15 and a half years. Well done. That's so awesome. And all I was going to say is, Scooby-Doo, Scooby loves you. How about that? There we are. There's a bit of impersonation there of Scooby-Doo. We got Brennan says, all right, so enough of that. Setting up future wealth, says Brennan. Family and no drama channel. That is correct. That is correct. And you also get a bit of sound effects as well. You get a bit of sound effects on this channel. I post beautiful scenery, beaches, doxes, and quotes, says Sandy. Be happy. That's true. That's true. You do that. Who else is in the house there? Pierre says, win live with Jim Rat Crypto. I don't think I'll be on. I'm not really doing interviews at the moment, so I probably won't be doing many at the moment. I just don't feel like doing interviews at the moment. That's kind of the thing. I just feel like doing the show and doing my thing, at the moment. I guess a little bit like Trayvon's a bit like that. I'm a bit like that with, I guess Randy has been on a few shows, but he's kind of like that too. So I just feel that's where I'm comfortable at the moment. Hey, I might change my mind in the future. It's just that where I'm vibing at the moment, pretty much. Release the documentary. Yeah, that's the other thing, right? V3 testnet, the documentary, man, things can turn around pretty fast. And that is actually the title of the video. I've got double HEX 27X. I'll explain that in a minute. But we've got the highest of stakes, Pulsechain and HEX Conference Year 3. They're all coming up. So that's our roadmap for the HEX ecosystem and Pulsechain at the moment. So we're getting excited. Who else is in here? Where are my ninjas, says Christian. JB says, Superman from a cold Wales. Hey, JB, good to see you. Yeah, keep yourself warm up there in the Northern Hemisphere. I know it can be a little bit taxing physically with the cold weather. This is the week to go big time shopping, says BC in the Matrix. There we are. You heard it from BC around the shopping. Of course, if you get lower prices and you buy when people are fearful, right? That's kind of the thing. But of course, we always suggest dollar cost averaging as well, because you never know, you might get even a slightly better deal. Someone's going to pick the bottom, right? Someone is going to pick the bottom. And of course, they're going to have gloating rights later on. They'll go, oh, I picked it up at whatever the price will be. And, they get annoying after a while. They get annoying. Yes, okay, good on you. Good on you. Well done. Well done. Anyway, Christian's in the house there, squad. Hey, good to see you, Christian. Sandy Beach says, I'm shopping. You are shopping. Sandy Beach definitely shopping. Crypto Artist says, HEX conference around the corner. Just what the doctor ordered. I know. And they are really great, really well run and very well received. And they get a very big audience. The HEX conference is run by Mandy Allen. So pretty cool. He's got obviously a team that support him and buying that as well. Unpredicted Hex says, fingers crossed RH waits to fork Uniswap version 3. Unpredicted Hex, yeah, well, we talked about that. I still see it as optional, but hey, he may do that. That would be April, right? For PLSX, yeah. But remember last year in May, he already tweeted that they did have an V3 AMM estimation set up. So we'll see if they're going to wait till April, to March, then they might as well wait to April, I guess, to get the actual numbers rather than an estimation. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Thank you, Hex Token. I posted pics of him on Twitter. Nice one. Very nice one, Sandy. What's up there? Hex Force is in the house and definitely smash the likes. Hex Force 1 said, I had to buy more. It's like they're giving it away. It is a little bit like that, isn't it? Now, there's a switch, a swapping, a redistribution between the large holders generally, particularly a couple of large holders, and, of course, the new retail picking them all up. So we're going to talk about that. Buy the fear, baby, says QQ. Buy the fear. Mr. D says, good enough for me. At least it's less blurry now, says Mr. D. Nice one. Hey, look, I'm actually currently running at half HD on this live stream, but I will be getting back to full HD, which I had a month ago. Not many YouTubers last the bear market. Stay strong, Superman. Hey, simple believer. Yeah, bear market doesn't bother me. Number one word for me is always consistency. You guys, bull market or bear market, I'll be streaming. And this is not my this is not my first bear market. Whereas a lot of the YouTubers in the Hex and Pulsechain space, it is their first bear market, particularly for Hex. And of course, what's the Hex bear market now? About 465 days, something like that. So it's just the way it goes. Hopefully they get some inspiration from some of the others like Randy and Maddie and that just keep streaming. So that's a good inspiration, right? What else there? Times like this, we should feel grateful if you were part of the sacrifice a year ago with Richard Hart saved you over 95% of your sacrifice value compared to now. That's right. So the sacrifice values were much higher at that time. So that should play well when Pulsechain launches. Very true there, Crypto Artie. This isn't Superman's first rodeo. Hey, good to see you, Briz. That is true. That is true. MB in the house there. Somebody got the wick back in November. Flashy wick down to 0001 USDC per hex. Lol. That says MB. Yeah, that has been the case a couple of times. I think at least twice, if I remember. We have Hex Hodl comes in. He does a lot of that advanced trading stuff. He'd definitely probably remind us of that. He typically uses, what does he use? Dex Guru, I think he uses a lot. JB and Halcyon got in at 003, and it's like doing it all again because better because I learned how X really works. Nice one, JB. That's a good insight for you. Hey, appreciate a couple of good insights in there in the last couple of comments. Hey, let's do it, folks. Let's get ready to rumble. That was the longest intro I've done for a while. 17. Actually, it's the longest of all time. I just hit the longest intro of all time. We've got 50 people watching, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to leave the contents after the live stream because it's about 18 minutes in and I'm still finishing the intro. So welcome, everybody. We've got a lot to talk about. Let's deep dive. We've got lots of projects doing cool stuff. We're going to talk about it. Stock market today. Dow wobbles to close lower as tech tantrum continues. Stock market, it's just like so predictable. The stock market is so predictable. It has done a few unusual things this year, but generally speaking, once it gets into a rhythm, it gets very predictable. So the Dow wobbles to close lower as tech tantrums continue. No surprise there, right? No surprise. Well, let's have a look here. We've got the Dow Jones Industrials. Remember, this is the top 30 industrials, at least in this index, and it is down 1.1% today. Another red day. 365 points down to 32,875. Now it's still over 30,000. That's a very key milestone, but it is down 365 points today. The S&P is down 1.2%, 46 points, down to 3,783. And we talked about that yesterday when we did our forecast. We looked at all the 5 investment banks that were giving us their projections for 2023. You can check out yesterday's video. And I think I put a timestamp on that. They were looking at, I think the low end range was like down to 3,200, somewhere in that ballpark. And I think they had the high up at about 4,200. That was kind of the range that they were looking at. I think the first half down the bottom of that range, second half of the year at the top of that range. So finishing maybe even or slightly ahead is what they're expecting, but they are expecting a bit of a Fed pivot towards the end of the year kind of thing. What else have we got? NASDAQ there is down 1.35%, down 140 points. Still over 10,000. Very important. Remember, the NASDAQ's got all the tech companies in it. That is at 10,213. Pretty important that it holds the 10,000 marks, kind of that psychological level. And so far, it's managed. I think it dipped down briefly, but managing to hold on to that at the moment. So let's. We won't actually look at the year tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, we'll look at the end-year results. Right? We'll actually look year on year and see how the markets have done. In terms of their, percentage decreases, basically. We'll look at that. Now, the dollar index there is up 30%, up to 104.23. So the US dollar strengthening against its trading partners. That is pretty much it there for the indexes and the exchange rate. Let's jump over to the commodities. We've got Brent oil. These are basically just both of them down slightly. West Texas and Brent oil just under $84, and West Texas there at $78.57. And of course, we've got gold there at $1,812. That's pretty much even, and silver is pretty much even as well. Flat, that is at $23.71. So not much happening in the oil or the commodities there. Let's get into the commentary though. The Dow closed lower Wednesday after cutting its early day gains as the ongoing sell-off in tech continued to sour sentiment on stocks just days to go until the trading year comes to a close. A lot of people will be happy about that, right? We're looking forward to a new year and maybe a bit of a new sentiment, right? That's what they're probably looking for there. January may very well give us an opportunity to boom before the Fed interest rates in February. Remember, we had about 6 weeks of a gap. We've already used up 2 weeks of that, maybe just slightly over 2 weeks. So we've got about 3.5, 4 weeks to go to have a chance of recovery. Maybe January might be nice to the markets before reality starts setting back in there. Apple led the selling in tech, falling more than 3% as iPhone supply disruption jitters persist amid labor shortages at Foxconn's main production facility in Xinjiang, China. And of course, Foxconn they're the ones that make them in China there. If you haven't seen documentaries, there's plenty of documentaries around those. You can watch them with the iPhone making there. Research firm TrendForce cut its estimate on iPhone shipments for 2022 in the first quarter of 23. The research firm said it expects 47 million units were shipped in Q1, down from a previous estimate of 52 million for Q1. Isn't that a lot of phones in a Q? And you know how expensive these phones are. Boy, no wonder they live the dream there in their little spaceship that they've got. Is it California? I think it is. So yeah, that's pretty bad. If you haven't seen that, there's a documentary on that too on YouTube. You can go see a little UFO. These guys live the dream. They live the dream. They're little ideological nutters, but they live in the dream with lots of money. And of course, as we saw on Twitter, when they lost their jobs, they lost all those extra perks, right? All those vegan food and yoga rooms and everything else you could imagine. These guys, that's what they do at these places like Apple and places. They live the dream. Research firm TrendForce, yeah, I read that part. Energy also played a leading role in broader market meltdown as well. So not just tech, but energy, paced by a decline in the oil prices as investors weighed up the tug of war on demand between rising C-19 cases that are restricting activity and Beijing's recent move to ease pandemic restrictions. So there we are. They like to tag in this part here, don't they? At the end here, how does it relate to how does it relate to energy and demand? It's a very basically it's not significant at all. But they put it in the article, right? Bunch of crazy nuts. Industrials meanwhile dealt a blow by weaknesses in airline stocks amid a string of cancellations in the wake of a severe winter storm that has brought travel across parts of the US to its standstill as well. What else there? We've got, we'll just jump to this last bit here. The latest slide, we'll just might as well talk about Tesla. Tesla ended the day 3% higher, but investor sentiment in the electric vehicle maker's stock continues to be pressured by concerns about softer demand. Bard cut its price target for Tesla to $252 per share from $316, citing potential weakness of demand. The latest slide on Wall Street, albeit on lower trading volumes, put stocks on a firmer course to close out the year with a loss due to high interest rates and the increasing probability of a U.S. recession, Wells Fargo said. So no surprises there from us. That's pretty much on the money. The S&P 500 is set for the biggest yearly loss since the financial crisis of 2008, and we will talk about that at the end of this week. We'll sum up the year-on-year results there. Fears of recession will continue to hang over the market in early 2023, Wells Fargo adds, but believes that equity markets will rebound later in the year as investors anticipate a recovery. And what we're expecting, as I've said on this channel, and we'll talk about that in the Hex chart, is that we might get an early pivot, and maybe that's September, October. We typically have, after the pivot, that's where interest rates, we move from a contractionary neutral point of view into an expansionary point of view. And of course, I'm expecting that to be maybe 3 months earlier than a lot of the analysts are talking about out there. So we'll see how that plays out. But of course, if inflation and wages keep coming back, it could be a bit earlier rather than waiting for 24 for a run. But hey, typically the markets, the real economy is lagged after the interest rates. And so the earnings also get lagged as well. And of course, that will impact the market's results. And maybe we'll start to rebound into the fourth quarter next year. As kind of after we dip out, we'll dip after that, after the pivot, and then rebound is what I expect. A bit of a hockey stick after that. Now that's a moving target and time frame, but that's kind of my time frame at the moment. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let's get into the stock market. Let's go. No, we just did the stock market. Let's get into crypto. We've got BTC at $16,540. That's down 1% at the moment. We've got ETH there That was sitting up at around $1,220. That's kind of weakened down about 2%, down to 1,187. Now, the hammer has not yet fallen. Some of the altcoins are weakening for sure, but the hammer has not yet fallen. We are not down for Bitcoin, for example, down to the 12,000 that El Capo Crypto, one of our trading gurus that we've been following, has expected. Now, obviously, timing's always difficult, but the probability of event can still play out, and that's kind of what we're expecting. Still expecting the hammer to fall still. We haven't really, contagion hasn't quite played out yet, but sometimes that can be delayed a couple of months. So we'll see how that plays out too. And we've also got, obviously, a Richard Hart's 11K in prey, and that hasn't been reached yet either. So that's the bottom of the bear. We will see. The other side of it, of course, is that we also we got Solowell, Solowell? Yeah, Solowell, I think it is, down in the 9,000. So there's quite a bit of range there between those three commentators, as it were. And of course, we'll see whether that comes to fruition. Maybe it's going to happen in February. We don't know. We've still got rate hikes expected in February and March. And of course, maybe it's going to happen then. We'll see. Maybe January is going to be a bit of a reprieve. We'll find out. It's all going to play out. But there we are. What else is what's going on here? We've got Solana here is down the lowest. And of course, down 11.9% there. Solana at $9.75. So that's actually the standout here at the moment. And people were saying that may have been a bit of fallout on Solana as well, I think from FTX, if I remember correctly. So that's kind of been taxed down there on Solana. Let me know any news that you're aware of Solana. I did read some commentary on Solana, but that's kind of where that is at the moment. It's kind of the standout. Just having a look at a few of these others. Everything else looks pretty mixed. Stable coins are pretty much stable. USD Tether just slightly below peg. And other than that, not much to see here that I can just have a look at these. Can't see much else, but it's definitely Solana there standing out. All right, so let's jump over to Hex. We're going to talk Hex. Everyone want to talk about Hex? I'll talk about Hex. We've got a lot to talk about Hex, man. This is going to be deep dive. Hope you guys are ready. It's going to be a deep dive into the Hex, man. We're going deep. We're going deep undercover here. All right, so let's jump back into the comments here. We've got a few other people in the house before I get into Hex because we will be deep diving later. So let's get it here. We've got... Sandy Beach says, set your limit orders, peeps. Yeah, definitely set your orders. And Brazilji says, world record intro. Yes, 18 minutes. Was it 18 minutes? That was crazy, man. I didn't even anticipate that. Francis says, hello, Hexkins. Hey, good to see you, Francis. Definitely smooch the likes, says Pierce. And, of course, hey, Francis, long time no see. Yeah, Francis is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Francis is in the house there. What else there? We got a couple other people. Just jumping through some of these comments. MB says filled. Very well done. Wink, wink. Like that one. Well done, MB. Crazy trades like the quadruple 01 USD per Hex won't happen again. It's got another zero on it. Have you added another zero to that? Chance of a lifetime. So sad. Yeah, what's the all-time low of Hex? Was it 4 zeros and 5? Intraday low on the 5th of January 2020. I think it was something like that. 4 zeros and 5. Someone in there will remember. I think that's pretty much it, though. I think it was the official close of the day was what, 4 zeros and a 6, was it? Yeah, on the 5th of January. I think those are the numbers. Michael says in the house there, woo! Hey, good to see you, Michael. What else there? We can jump through this. Christian says Zen NFTs coming soon. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that later on. Stay tuned, but we're doing a deep dive into Hex first. Deep dive. Well, I believe that when Pulsechain launches, Hex will dip. I don't know how low, though. Says Sandy Beach. Yeah, well, we've talked about the big liquidity pools. That seems to be indicated by Richard way back when he was talking about Pulsechain Hex a lot. But we will see how quickly that happens. Presumably, it's going to happen fairly quickly, although they might want to let the volatility play out. We'll see. We'll see how that plays. They can pull in liquidity into that pool and lock that pool up pretty quickly. The only way you hold, we'll talk about Hart's Law a bit later, but the only way you hold that tight is with the narrative and with a very thick liquidity pools, and particularly in this case where you're going to try and lock in the two pairs on two different chains. Christian says, I'm holding liquid Hex so I can get copies and play. Nice one, Christian. A dry powder word sounds so cartel. Well, yeah, dry powder. You've got to have your dry powder ready. That's true for any launch of any chain, really. Feels like the maximum fear in alts right now. Yep. Hey, look, it can get dramatic though, right? Capitulation fear. Maybe is that the final leg? Capitulation fear, that can definitely come in. Francis says, hey, Superman, I love you. Hey, appreciate that, Francis. Big shout out to you. We might as well do the big heart things. We're Instagram models on this channel. Instagram models. We do the big hearts. That's pretty how we roll there. For Dubai, you got to have a heavy bag, says Kristen. I think we're up to there for sure. All right, cool. We're up to the comments there. Now,
A few moments later.
There we are. A few moments later, and we're back to the Hex chart. How about that? All right, so Hex has had something dramatic, right? So we've got down. We're already pressing down like 2.2 cents, and of course there was pressure on the chart. And then as soon as we hit 2 cents, a well-known dumper whale had decided to dump. So DO1 and associated wallets decided to dump there. So we hit 2 cents here. You can see it on the hourly, and of course then it triggered these wicks down, right? So this is on the hourly chart for Hex. And of course, this is the biggest trading pair. Our liquidity is down to 4.8 million. So we're used to being over 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 8 million. We're down at 4.8 million at the moment on liquidity in the top Hex USDC pair. Remember, there are 4 main pairs on Uniswap, 2 big USD ones and 2 Ethereum ones, right? We talk about it every day with the Hex Data Stats. And at the moment, this is where we're at. So we had a high of the day of 2.118 cents. And we had a low of 0.177. Sorry, not for the day, for this hour, first hour here. Back at 12 o'clock here on the 28th of December. That's kind of the play there. And then obviously you just, once that happens, you get that wick. You're going to get a lot of, and if there's more coming, bam, 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 bam. So this whale was pushing us out. Well-known whale that's got lots of stuff that just keeps coming and dump, and plays out there. So a lot of people comment on that. And then we had a second round here as well. We had a second round of selling in here as well. So double whammy on Hex. Hex tried to do a fight back. This fight back is retail, man. This is retail fighting back here, and retail fighting back here again. They see the price and they go, I'm going to gobble. And so this is these little retraces of the whales. The retail fighting the whales. That's what we've had for such a long time, the retail fighting the whale. But what happens? We do get a redistribution. We do some people that see the value in Hex long term, and of course the Pulsechain, everything else, all those narratives that we talk about. They are looking to dollar cost average and, of course, get their average value down as well. In other words, when we do get back into that narrative play, back on a turning point after the bear market's over, they're sitting pretty happy, right? They get a quick recovery of their cost, and they start making the jam, start making the honey, as it were. That's kind of where we're at the moment. So let's have a look at what we had back here at 12 o'clock on 28th. We had a lead in here. You can see here on the 28th is the trades coming in. And of course, we see we're green. We're sitting around about 2.1 cents. As soon as we hit this mark here, we get this whale that decides to dump every so often, probably every month, I think it is. But they're dumping here at 2 cents, and of course 45,000 and 2.2 million Hex there, and dumperoo. So 45k. But what do? They don't stop. They just keep coming. And of course, we have the 3.9 million dump. Then we have another 30,000. That's another 1.5 million dump, all in the same hour. And that's what you can see in this candle here. And they just dump here. Another one here. This is the same whale. Dump. To 41,000, 2 million there. And away they go. A couple other people jump on, right? They see the candles, go, oh my God, I've got to sell. Maybe I even in-stake. Some of them are in-stake, possibly. And they sell. And then we got another dump here. Only a few minutes later, right? All within minutes of each other. 48 here, 2.5 million, sell, dump. And away you go. You can see it. Here's another one here, 2.5 million, dump. All the same player. There are 1 or 2 other players in this, but really it's the DO1 wallet here. And of course, there's been 2 main wallets here that have been participating in this event and then this event here. So that's kind of where we are at this moment. So really, there's been a retail redistribution here to eat this up. So you can sort of see those big sells there. We had a few more big ones in here as well, 1.7. Then you get some cascading people that decided they get fearful. They just jump on the top of there, trying to preserve their US dollars. They think the market's going to keep going down. And of course, in this case, it does. Then we have another one here, 2.5 million. You can see it just keeps coming. And of course, that impact, bam. That has an impact. And of course, you can see it in these 3 candles here. That just gets really wrecked here in the first hour. That's kind of the play there. We can see that we have some retail buying back here. And of course, that helps push it back. People are getting good deals, relatively speaking. And that's the way it goes. So that's kind of where we are there. Then we get into 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock on the 28th there. And you can see that we get more of the whale. Same whale, sell, bam, 44,000, and so on and so on. So you can see all that play out. We're just scrolling through. Had my screen starting to wobble here, but that's kind of the idea. So you can just see more and more of these just coming in there. Now, if we jump away from there, we can go to our very good analyst friend, your friend Somi. And of course, he's also got an economics background as well, like myself. And now let's have a look at his comments 23 hours ago. He goes, I bought some more Hex. Hex is almost down 97% down. And of course, you started commentated on that we had actually moved from about 95.5% down to 96.5%. And of course, got down to about 97% there on the close, at least on the candle. It's not any of those freak dips that some people get. There is one big doxer seller, wallet DO1. DO1, we've seen it wallet many times. He has 130 million Hex left. This was 23 hours ago. Don't let people scare you out of your bags. This is when you're supposed to keep buying. That is from your suggestion from your friend Somi. Remember, nothing is investment advice. There we are. So that's his little chart there that he's posted. And of course, then he posted another one in the Hex series. Did 3 little posts there 23 hours ago. He goes, this is the side wallet of wallet DO1, a doxed whale dumper, the well-known doxed whale dumper for Hex. He has 8.3 million USDC and has been violently destroying price for a long time. It's an interesting choice of words, violently destroying price for a long time. He still has 163 million Hex, but this is at the time 3 hours ago at least. But he will take a long time to wash out because he has enough stables there to last a few years. So that's kind of the idea there from this whale. Then finally, we had this third post here 22 hours ago. This is from your friend Somi as well. This is a doxed side wallet of wallet DO1, doxed Hex dumper. He sold about 55 million Hexaroo today. And of course, that's a lot to absorb, right? Especially when you're down at this price level. And of course, that means redistribution. The retail has got to eat it up, right? They've got to say, yeah, we'll take it from you, and we'll pay you out, basically. I guess some people might look at it. You can always go back to the all-time high and say, well, at least it's not 52 cents. It's down at 1.92 cents or whatever. So there is some goodness about that. He has about 160 million left. Last time he acted was 33 days ago. He has 8 million stables here. He might do this once a month for 5 months. So that's kind of there. So we still got to absorb these whales, particularly these ones that are not committed, so forth. So there we are. So that was kind of the highlights there from your friend Somi. I thought you guys might find that interesting. And of course, I'll post the link to his Twitter in the chat if you want to follow him. He does some good stuff there. Now, he's not, you may not always agree with him, just like any analyst or commentator, but he does offer some food for thought, and he is a pretty clever dude and gives some good insight. So it's well worth following there. All right, let's jump over to some of the blockchain. Let's have a look at some of that. And of course, let's have a look. This is this sidechain wallet here. This is the DD1A. This is the one that was really smashing that price in the chart. This is the one causing all this havoc here. Once we hit this price mark here at about 2.1, and of course, its first close out was at 2 cents average. And you can see it transforming into stable coins, right? So that's the one there. Just keep an eye on that one, the DD1A. This is just some of many of the transactions. Here is another one here. This was this one here. So DD1A, just another one of those transactions we saw when we went through the trade list. We saw this. This is just on the Ether scans, just another view. And of course, you can see it play out. There's another one. There's so many of these, right? Selling all that Hex down. You know, some he's indicated 55 million. I haven't added all that up, so I don't know whether it was more than that. You can check out the wallet yourself. Let's see DD1A there. So that's kind of some stuff there. Now, DD1A wasn't by itself. There were a couple other wallets that were in there with some decent sells as well, like CE90 there. And of course, 474 as well was in the mix of that as well. And of course, DD18 that was also in there as well. So that's kind of that. We also had a wallet 52C was in the mix there as well during the carnage. And of course, the carnage has not quite yet finished, right? The carnage is not quite yet finished. The retail book, or at least any large new whale that's going to come in, has not yet net benefited the game. In other words, push the price back up to say over 2 cents. That's what we're looking for next, right? To break this downtrend momentum. So that's kind of, we still haven't got out of that box yet, which means that there's opportunity for large volume pickups here at this stage. Obviously, no one knows the future, right? So just remember that. That's kind of where we are there. Now, I was going through, we got heaps of transactions in there in the transaction queue. I just wanted to go to a bit of a deep dive, just give a bit of a picture about what was going on there. And of course, normally I don't do that sort of stuff, but I thought it's pretty important at this level. Once we get down to this 2 cents and break 2 cents, it's kind of cool to have a look to see what sort of whale stuff is causing these sort of things. Now, you can go further with that and have a deeper look into these sell-offs here as well. You can always just go through the trade view and have a look at yourself if you want to see what sort of wallets are doing that. And, of course, see if anyone else is that follows this stuff. So a couple of people out there do follow these things very closely, and you can find out what they think of these wallets and whether they're doxed or not. So that's kind of that at the moment. So where we're sitting at the moment, last 24 hours, we've had 683 buys on the top trading pair. We've had 289 sells, but the volumes are now at break even over 24 hours. So obviously this is a rolling 24 hours, just keeps moving every hour. This is break even at the moment, 1.3 to 1.3. So it looks like we're pretty much sitting in there on the dollar volume. However, the price is currently at 1.885 cents. We've been as low as about just under 1.7 cents on a couple of these little spikes down here. So let's see if we can get back to 2 cents. That'd be a nice place to sit back over, give a bit of a confidence. But obviously, maybe getting back to 2.2 cents would send a big, even stronger signal. We sort of end where we started, kind of thing. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see how that plays out over the coming days, over the New Year days ahead of us. All right, so cool. These things are a little bit like trauma events. Once the trauma event finishes, that gets a bit more stable. People start gaining a bit more confidence. There's sort of like this, like a big storm, and then after the storm, it gets all quiet on the water, and then you go, wow, this is really one peaceful place. And then, of course, then you start seeing some human activity, some ships float by, and things like that, and then the price starts to get a bit of a life back into it. So it's a bit like that. All right, so cool. Let's have a look at the last 6 hours. Last 6 hours, we had 233 buys versus 99 sells. And, of course, we had 465,000 buy volume versus 502,000. So still the sellers are winning out there. And, of course, you can see that in the chart. The last hour, we had 36 buys versus 17 sells. But we had buy volume was a little bit better. We can see that in the chart here, 52,000 versus 45. So that's kind of where we are on this top trading pair for Hex. All right, so that is pretty much the Hex one there. Let's have a look at the whale bot. 19 hours ago, we only had really one big thing to talk about here. At least picked up on the whale bot here, 28 million Hex staked for 31 days. And this is one of those large holders just short staking, scraping interest, but getting diluted by the share rate. That's pretty much that one. All right, cool. I think that's it. So let's have a quick look at Hex from a longer point of view. So this is Hex over the last 24 hours here. It's giving us, this is on nomics.com. It's saying that we're down 4.75% on 24-hour basis. And, of course, we'll just have a look at the last week. We'll have a look at the last week there on Hex and see where we are from a week ago in terms of Hex price. So Hex is down 21% in 7 days. So that's the last day. So let's have a look at a month and see how Hex is doing over the last month as well. So Hex there is down 30% pretty much for the last month. Let's look at the last year. So look at the last year at the moment based on Nomics data. We're down 91.2% based on a year ago based on Nomics' data there. Let's just look at year to date though, so which is mostly a year. Let's look at year to date. Let's see where Hex is down on that one. Down 91.2, yeah, so pretty much the same as a year. So that makes sense because we're almost 1 year. That's hilarious. All right, we would like to have fun on this channel. That's just how we roll. All right, so cool. That is pretty much it. That is the Hex chart there. Let's have a quick look at the daily. That was the hourly analysis there of all the drama in there. Of course, opportunity. Drama equals opportunity. Volatility equals opportunity. Let's get rid of the trades and get rid of our summary there on the right. We're going to review this pretty quickly. We've got, obviously, the ETH proof of stake merge happened on the 15th of September. Richard Hart then announced on Hexologist show on the 9th of October that we'd be forking the proof of stake, not the proof of work. And, of course, that is good news, right? Because we get all the upgrades potentially. And, of course, hopefully the team's had enough time to get over that. Now, how long has it been since the ETH merge? It's been 105 days. So the team's had a chance to look at that. Obviously, about 6 weeks ago or so, a bug was found as well. And both the ETH team and the ETH Foundation team and the Pulsechain team apparently are working on that. So presumably that's probably been solved, or at least will be patched at some stage. Maybe it has to wait till one of the fork patches. I don't know how they do that process, but there we are. We also had, obviously, from KDP and the Power City team, they are a development team, so at least the one that they're associated with, talking to the Pulsechain development team. And, of course, they were hinting, hey, hold off on your launch. We've probably got in a couple of weeks, have the Pulsechain testnet v3 launch. Now, we did see video from Richard that he was a little bit more skeptical on the timeline. Obviously, there's probably a little bit of dynamic tension there between the devs, his devs, and himself. Perhaps that's my speculation, but based on past behavior, particularly after the May launch that didn't happen, maybe there's some tension there. I don't know. Maybe it's all by design, but I suggest that there must be some technical tension in there. But we'll see how we go. In any case, I've got the time zone here. I interpreted a couple of weeks, anywhere from between the 14th of December to the 7th, 8th of January. And we're sort of working through that at the moment for Pulsechain Testnet V3. Obviously, if we get that any time in this period or even in January, to be honest, that's going to be very bullish. And of course, that may set in the bottom price for Hex and may also give it a cushion if the rest of the crypto market decides to do the hammer and go down to those 12K, 11K for Bitcoin. We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, the higher Hex is, the more cushion it's got if that event does happen. So that'd be pretty cool. Obviously, V3 will be the proof of stake network, and we're excited about that too. Now, obviously, that's going to be bullish for mainnet as well, because obviously, if you've got a proof of stake, it's got the 0.2 fee in there. Maybe they've done any S-load changes or whatever else they're going to do to the chain. At least we get the bare bones of the chain up and running. And of course, we can wait for the Shanghai upgrade later on. So whether either they're going to do the upgrade or basically taking off, I think I'm not sure whether they use Geth or whatever. Actually, I've got the link to the Ethereum. I might pull that up in another live stream with the Ethereum proof of stake blockchain code. And of course, we've got that Shanghai March 2023 EIP 4895 ETH withdrawals. And of course, at the moment, people are staking their ETH on proof of stake. Can't withdraw it, right? So that's pretty fundamental. And of course, we will want that for Pulsechain withdrawals, right? If you're staking Pulsechain. Then obviously that's coming up in March. So we don't know whether it's early March or late March. That's just targeting March at the moment. And of course, we don't know, is it actually going to hit the target? Are they going to hit the target for March? That's the other thing. But they have scheduled it for March, so haven't done any changes from that. So that would be pretty bullish. And of course, that gives us a lead time. So even if they do wait to fork that particular version of the ETH proof of stake chain with the withdrawals included without having to upgrade themselves, then basically fork the chain, Pulsechain themselves, then that would be bullish. That would lead us into March, April, potentially, probably, and give them 4 to 6 weeks after that, and it would leave us pretty much into April, right? Then we've got V3 liquidity. This would be more efficient using actual data as opposed to the AMM V3 estimate, which I believe that they're using at the moment. And of course, that source of that comment is from the May update last year that Richard gave about V3 AMM. So this would maybe if they're going to wait until April, they go, hey, well, the V3 license is out now. Just use the actual numbers for when we make it, the biggest liquidity farming in the world type of thing, and when we harvest Uniswap and SushiSwap and everything else into Pulsex. And of course, we'll have V3 liquidity offerings as well, so people can do asymmetric liquidity, providing USD on one side or Hex on the other side, or Pulse or whatever else is out there. So that's pretty cool. So we're definitely probably looking in terms of based on all information we have, probably around somewhere in April or May, somewhere in this point here, and possibly even as early as March. I mean, that's always possible, but we'll see how that goes. So that's kind of the zone. I'm feeling like we've got a potential Pulsechain launch. Now, I have got that with a big question mark because no one knows. We don't know. We're just taking all the information that we have. We're putting on this price chart here and trying to get an idea of when we have a realistic expectation for Pulsechain launching, both testnet first and then the mainnet second. That's kind of the best information we have at the moment. Now, ultimately, the team and Richard will decide, and of course, that may be subject. Maybe it is contingent for them on how the ETH chain goes as well. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, the other thing, of course, is February the 1st there. We've also got the Fed interest rate rises in February and March. And of course, if we get the second one there in March, and that is the final one, that is the terminal rate, maybe it's at 5% rather than 5.25, and we don't get this March one, then we would have pretty good timing here for not only the markets, but also technically for the chain to be forked. And that would be the best of all worlds. The other thing that's not on this charter here is also the fact that we would also have all the Pulsechain ecosystem probably finished by then as well. That includes all our top AAA dApps from Power City, Liquid Loans, Fiat, Famous, Internet Money, and a couple other top tier dApps that are out there as well that will be going on Pulsechain and really helping a lot, including all the on-ramp and off-ramps like Coast, and of course stable coins like CST We'll have liquid, LUSD, USDL, and potentially BankX and other ones like that out there as well. So it's going to be pretty cool. On top of that, of course, we're also going to have a rack and resell, presumably, with everything blockchain and all their different front ends as well, including centralized exchanges, coin listing sites, and on-ramps, off-ramps there as well. So that's going to be pretty cool. And potentially opening up probably Middle East money if things are still the same as they were when last time Rack and Rochelle was talking. So that's kind of the lay of the land at the moment for Hex. Let's get into the Maximus quickly. We can see that they're pretty much all followed Hex down here on the Maximus products. I did cover this pretty decently yesterday, but you can sort of see Maxi at the moment, 2.584 cents at the moment. On Maxi, so still got that nice little premium. Let's have a quick look at the Maxi premium actually versus Hex. You can see the price just followed Hex down there. But let's have a look at the premium. What was it yesterday? About 44%, I think we said. It's at 41, so it has weakened a little bit today, but that's pretty much where it is. So it's on the daily there. It's weakened down there. It was actually got as high as almost 150. It's down at 141 there on the old Maxi versus Hex there. The Decimus, which is the 10-year stake, so Maxi is the 15-year. These are the big whales. Number 30 whale last time I checked was Maxi. 30th biggest stake, I should say, 15th biggest shark. And of course, I'm not sure whether it's probably moving around, maybe one or two spots, who knows. We've got also the Deci, the 10-year one there. Let's jump over to the daily on this one. And we got the price at 1.89 cents. So that's pretty similar to the Hex, right? So it can't be too much dissimilar. Yeah, 1.01. So one Deci premium is basically 1.01 to Hex at the moment. So just got a little pump there in the last 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute chart. Let's jump to the daily. That's the daily there. So there we are, 1.11. Has been sub 1. The Deci. Nice. It's got at least back to parity, right? Is it back to parity? Oh, no, I think it should be at a premium, right? Should be at a premium. Maxi's at a premium. Maybe Dexy should be at a decent premium as well. I know what are you guys thinking there. Maybe 1.1 or something like that. 1.2, probably closer to 1.2, 1.25 or something, maybe something like that. We'll see. But anyway, it is it's a value opportunity, right? Potentially a value opportunity. We've got the Lucky down here at 1.893 cents. We've got Trio there at almost just under 2 cents at the moment. That's the 3-year one, right? The 3-year one is at almost at 2 cents, slightly stronger than Hex itself. We've got Lucky there at just a 1.9. That's the 7-year one. That's slightly lower. And of course, the base there is at 1.8. So pretty similar to Hex is the base. That's the 1 year. Let's have a look at the premium. Base to Hex. That is 1.007. So just a slight little premium in there. That's probably reasonable. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe I always think that it should be like 1.02 in the sort of zone. Kind of maybe where it should be. But hey, maybe even higher, 1.07. Let's go to 1.07. Can I get a 1.06? Probably somewhere in like that. So that's kind of it. Let's have a look at the team. I'm pretty sure this is the right one for the team. It's got 2.287 cents there on the team. I have to double check that. I'm pretty sure that's the team price. I could be wrong there. I didn't double check to see whether I had the right price chart for that one. But I'm pretty sure it was. That was a quick run there. We got Polly there at 50.1045 as well. I'll have to double check that, but I think those are the right charts. Let me know in the chat if I've picked up the wrong ones there. Sometimes it can happen. It can happen sometimes. All right, so cool. Let's jump over to Hedron. That is Maximus Perpetuals. So what we got here? We got Hex at the bottom. We got the build on top of that, a Hex ecosystem. And of course, Alex McFurter did Icosa and Hedron. I was trying to say Hedron and Icosa together. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. I meant Hedron and Icosa. And of course, then we've also got we've also got Dipcatcher and Goldkey who have made Maximus. And of course, that's with all those tokens, the whole family of tokens we just covered. And of course, there's some that water's not on here, right? So water's on there too. That's the gas one. We haven't covered that. And it's probably got a very small liquidity on it, though, I imagine. Anyway, so that is pretty much the Maximus ecosystem built on top of Hex. We're going to look at Hedron, of course. Hedron is actually had a little bit of a pump back yesterday. You can see that yesterday's chart. That's the candle there, the green one. That is currently the high of the day was 11.80. The low was 10.38, and it's currently at 11.10. So it's back in the middle there. But that's looking a bit better, right? It had this big downtrend. It's doing its own thing. Maybe it will decouple a little bit from Hex. Sometimes these things do that, right? Decouple. Sometimes it can go with Hex. Sometimes it can decouple depending on what's going on. And of course, there we are, 1110. Maybe it's flattening out now. Maybe it's going to be able to do something from here. Maybe bounce from here. There's always opportunity when the price charts pulls back like this. You can see in we take the wider view. Maybe that's it. But maybe it's got further to go. Maybe it goes right down back into adding another zero. Who knows? We'll see. It has got a more investors and a more well-rounded ecosystem behind it now. It's been had quite a long life. Definitely had a bit of life there. It's only had 54 buys though versus 32 sells. So compared to Hex, not the big numbers that you expect. 75,000 volume versus 70,000 on the sell there in the last 24 hours. So slightly winning out there from the buyers at the moment. Let's jump over to, let me just close this chart down. Let's jump over to the ICOSA chart. We've got 4,521 HSIs in the liquidation queue that have not yet been pulled into auction. You have to pull them in, start the auction on these. So there's always opportunities for people to get, and some people have been getting them. I think we've had generally, so probably, I'm just going to add a little bit extra to the number that we had, but we've probably got maybe 800 people that have won HSI, somewhere in that ballpark. And of course, we've also had a lot of people been getting really big discounts versus the T-shares. So people that have decided to take the time and do the math have made some pretty good discounts to market value, and of course picked up some pretty nice T-shares there in the making, particularly if you're trying to add to your staking ladder. So that's kind of cool. What else there? We've got 35 currently in the auction house. So let's have a look through and see what sort of value is in there at the moment. There's always something for everybody, just about, right? Except for the very small ones, maybe the very, very small ones there. We've got 100,000 Hex in there. That's 12 T-shares. We've got 6 T-shares there. 77,000 Hex, 54,000. So there's a couple in there. Oh, we've got a big one. So there was about 90 or so ones that were over 1 million Hex. We do have 2 of them in here today. 2.1 million Hex there and 1.9 million Hex. So 265 T-shares, 235 T-shares. So if that's something that you're looking at, there we are. You've got the heads up there. And of course, something currently at the moment, there's 17 hours or 18 hours to go on these, 1.5 billion and 1.3 billion respectively on these 2 here. So there might be some really nice value there. Do your calculations, see where that is. Obviously, Hedron's cheaper, right? So if you're coming in from stables, then that's even better deal than when Hedron was way higher. So might be some good value indeed in there as well, especially with Hex having pulled back. So that's kind of there on the ICOSA. Let's jump over to the devs. Dev Huey, he said 23 hours ago that 3 watts of NFTs were burned in the last 24 hours. And as I said yesterday, these have been burning so slowly, but only about 1% being burned. And of course, we got 2,682 M points or million points yesterday burned. The supply is still at a whopping 21,861 people. This is supposed to be a last man standing game, and everybody's still standing. Just about everybody's still 99% of people still standing. It's supposed to be a last man standing. We could be here for a century before this stuff runs out. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Get in the chat there and let me know. But that's definitely taken a long time. That is surprising. I expected us maybe 10 to 15% burned by now, but no, people have not cashed in for the ICOSA, and away it goes. And that, I just realized, like yesterday, I was supposed to put the ICOSA contract up. I'll try and do that tomorrow. I've got to remember. I keep forgetting to cover ICOSA, so I apologize for that on my Hedron coverage. That's pretty much it. Let's jump away from that, and of course, let's get into where am I on here? We're on Zen. We're jumping to Zen, folks. We're going to talk about Zen. Stay tuned for that, because this is obviously one of the projects at the moment that's got a lot happening in the space. Obviously, with Hex, we're waiting for Pulsechain Testnet V3. That's kind of the thing. And of course, with the Hex, also there's a buying opportunity. Those kind of 2 things driving Hex at the moment. So we're going to talk about that. But we're going to get into Zen, and we're going to talk about obviously Zen NFTs and the burning. So some people can't understand this project at all. Hopefully, I'm going to help you with that, right, and help you understand that. So stay tuned. After this, we're talking about Zen. We're going to be getting into the weight token briefly, I think, and then we're going to get into BNB Pot, which has also got a big event happening today in the next hour or so. So we're going to talk about that too. So stay tuned. Let's get into some of this comments in the chat before I move into Zen, though. Let's get in here. What else? Jump through that. Crypto T says, imagine 1 Zen equals 1 Hex. No, that's very unlikely to happen, even with the tokenomics I'm going to talk about. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second. Sandy Beach, I think that Zen is a reasonably bullish outlook, and depending on how you frame it. But I don't see that happening. Francis, I love you, House. Yes, I follow you, Sandy. Nice one, Francis. What else there? We've got Kristen says whales dump and people scoop. That's pretty much what's happening at the moment. We talked about that. Crypto T DO1. We got Blobfish King in the house says A Hex token is the man to talk us back from the edge of the cliff, says Volfish King. I hope it's not that bad, BFK. I hope it's not that bad, but yeah, just stay steady there. Stay steady, as I say. Tortoise Johnny says, how much cash did he exit with? I didn't actually add it all up, but you can go check that out on. I did post the Twitter link. You can go follow that stuff there. Sorry, I probably could have talked about that, but I didn't have time. I was been doing other things distracting. I've been doing some my own crypto stuff, man. I mean, just happened to time. Sometimes when sometimes I'm not doing stuff that I'm trying to make money from, but I just happened to be doing that today. Brazaji says Sami is a good Twitter profile. I like reading his posts. Yeah, the thing about reading certain people is that even if you don't agree with them all the time, and I think he's actually he's pretty good with his stuff, is that it helps you think better, right? Helps you think about things maybe you didn't think of. Or helps you think about issues and maybe it confirms something that you think of or whatever. It's really good to check that out. And that includes some of the spammers, right? We have people that spam the community with negative stuff because they just want to increase their followers. A lot of the stuff that they say, we already know, right? We already know the stuff. So it's just like they're just trying to generate the energy, right? That follow me because you'll be really annoyed at me. And because you're annoyed at me, follow me, right? It's the same strategy that Richard talks about a lot of the time. Said, about friends, right? About borrowing money from friends, if you've heard Rich talk about that. So yeah, if you lend a friend money and then he buggers off basically, or if he gives you money, then he stays for life, something like that, some sort of catchphrase like that. Brazil remember exact words, but it's sort of like that. Dan Dog's in house there. A Pulse Zen, no large whales manipulation, copy of Pulsechain redistribution economy, creating a continuous compounding yield, waiting for Pulsechain. Boy, Dan Dog, that was a lot. Brazil says, I don't want to hear anyone building on Pulsechain say I didn't have enough time, says Briz. That's true. What else there? And Brazil says, I wish Richard was better with his updates. Yeah, I think a lot of people think that as well. We did have that update. I did talk about that yesterday, that update. But you're quite right. Some better updates. That was a kind of a what was that update? It was basically around the Lighthouse Explorer for the blockchain, basically querying the blockchain for Pulsechain testnet. It was basically like, we're just trying to align the numbers for to trillions. It was a kind of a soft update. The actual update around the numbers wasn't the big update for me. It was really about the fact that, are they working on the Explorer, a new Explorer like Lighthouse Explorer for that? And that's kind of good, right? So if you remember that multiple different consensus engines and validation engines or software are used, and we talked about Lighthouse and Prism and things like that that are used for Ethereum. And so that was kind of a cool insight. There was some good stuff in there. I called it a medium update, but it was actually more, hey, are they up to doing the blockchain Explorer? Then that's kind of a good sign. That was kind of the key takeout for me there. Dan Dog in house there. Hope soon, says Dan Dog. Yeah, that's for sure. Michael Racine says, I would personally like to thank the whales for the exceptional buying opportunity. Thank you very much for gobble, gobble, says Michael. Nice. I like that. Gobble, 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 indeed. Let's jump through some of this. Brennan says, drop a like for the alpha content. I appreciate that, Brennan. Hey, we're just having fun together. We're all on the same train, and we'll get to the destination at some stage. What else there? We're going to jump over to here. Brennan says, picked up some Maxi at a 1.3 ratio. Nice one, Brennan. Well played. Who else is in the house there? Michael says, I thought it was the OGs pushing it down, doing us a favor, helping us get in, because what kind of whale calls at the bottom unless you're doing it on purpose? That's the story I would pitch certain, says Michael. Yeah, well, there are different views on that, Michael. I tried to avoid too much of that speculation, but hey, look, some people have views on that. So, yep. It's nice that there is more buyers than sellers eating up most of the dumpers, yeah. And regardless of the motives or who it is, what we are seeing is a redistribution. So that's pretty much it. The other side of it, of course, as you guys know, I focus on the circulating supply as well. I've also said many times in the past that risk on and off is a bigger mega trend that trumps anything around Hart's Law. Hart's Law is, around stable coins is really tied to the narrative as well. So even if your narrative breaks down, even having Hart's Law breaks down as well. It is what I call a stickiness law. It does give you stickiness if you have a good narrative. Then it does reduce the risk of selling. Now, it's not just risk on, risk off, right? So risk on, basically, it's fear. People are just selling back in the stable coins, right? They'll dump just about anything, right? The other thing, of course, is that there's relativity, right? So maybe someone sees something go down 30%. They go, hey, My Hex is only down 5%. That coin's gone down 30%. I like that coin. I'm kind of emotionally attached to it. I think it's going to do well, and they sell the Hex down for that coin, right? So you've got the relativity play as well. There's quite a few factors going on in the market at once. That's just how it goes. Umberto says, I saw a tweet today, someone saying that V3 has already been finished, that they are testing it in private first, and at the same time in the market. What do you think? Okay, so Umberto, we already know that they had testing at V3 for proof of work for a long time on Chainlink. We've already seen that. That's kind of public. That is private. The stuff on GitLab, they have their own private stuff for doing the development. So we don't see that stuff, right? We see the public side of it. And of course, we know that they're already testing all the stuff on testnets, right? So no news there. There's no news there for that one, Humberto. We are stronger together. Gobble gobble, says Michael. That is true. All right, so here let's look at Zen. We're going to shift over from the Hex ecosystem and get into Zen. Now, obviously, this has got Zen NFTs coming up. This founder is Jack Levin. And of course, this current price chart is, look, this, you can see my little angles of momentum. You can see how they got stronger. And of course, at the moment, we've got this pretty strong momentum here. It is at 505586. And of course, it has a local high over here, got just over 6,000. So very bullish on this chart. And of course, Jack Levin has been posting certain things about that. So let's have a look here. So this is what we've got here. This was actually an extra stuff here. But before we get into this update that we got a couple of hours ago, he also gave an update earlier than that about when the NFTs are going to be launching. So at the moment, this is how to understand Zen. So Zen obviously has got this log2 function. And of course, it starts off really inflationary, and then it tapers off and becomes deflationary, right? So it's kind of a merger between a couple of different type of growth profiles or degrowth profiles. So it sort of goes like this. Can you see my hand? It's going like that. And so we have this lot of inflation at the beginning with the log2 function plus the early bonuses and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of where we start from a simple point of view. And what happens, so that's the first phase is inflation. And so what do we see with the chart, right? We saw when we take out a wider view of the chart, so let's go to the daily, we see what we see is a big, massive dump, right? And I've got my story I tell all the time, is that when I was watching this at the beginning, I was almost in tears. And why was I in tears? Because I knew that was just inflation. That was all that was known was the log2 function. And I was in tears because I couldn't believe people were paying the prices up here, knowing that it was just going to be dumping. We also saw a lot of the centralized exchanges, MC, and also stuff seemed to be minting and bots in there and everything else. Every cat and dog was in there minting their bot mints, and away we go. Now, since that time, it's matured, right? It's matured since that time. We got probably a vast majority of real people doing stuff out there now at the moment. And of course, it's now rolled out to 10 EVM chains, 10 chains, can you believe it? So it's trying a couple of things, right? It's doing cross-chain, getting a lot of attention. It's getting attention from centralized exchanges. It's also looking to target mass adoption, right? So we talk about Hex trying to establish itself as a long-term store of value. Obviously, it's got big US dollar price movements, but it's trying to establish itself as a store of value, just like Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's up and down. It's trying to establish that. Now, it's not a stable coin, but a store of value. And then we've got, obviously, Zen on the other side here as trying to establish itself as a medium of exchange, right? And therefore, what does that mean? It's Jack's talking about getting 100 million users and getting mass adoption, getting applications built using Zen, all that sort of stuff, and using that sort of as a velocity of money and getting it turned over. That's kind of the idea there. Now, but at the beginning, of course, the first phase is inflation. Given all that stuff I just said is inflation. And said, what has it come out now? Now he's come out, was it about 82 days later? We've almost got the launch. It'll be probably day 84. And we've got the launch of Zen NFT. So now we're going from inflation. Suddenly he's surprised everybody. Surprise! We've got Zen NFTs. We've been talking for a little while. We've got Zen NFTs, and it's going to have burning. And of course, he didn't really know what the burning was. In fact, I think on one show he was on there with Trayvon. Trayvon was saying, "Hey, the top burner there in the Apex category. Can you turn in the Zen unicorn into $10 billion burn? Because there's 100 of them, right? That's 1 trillion Zen. If they all get taken up, 1 trillion Zen. There's currently about 2.5 trillion Zen at the moment. And we're probably by the end of January might get up to 4.5 trillion Zen. But of course, a lot of that's going to get burnt in the Zen NFTs, right? So it's a pretty big deal. Now, all these NFTs that are coming out, 15.5 trillion Zen could potentially be burnt if people take that up, that opportunity. And why would it do it? I talked about the Zen NFT kind of being like a asset future as opposed to a cash future. And of course, it's pretty much both of them, but it's more of an asset future. We've got this future asset building up in this NFT, and of course, people can then trade it. So at the moment, you can mint things on the main DApp, but you can't trade that, right? It's just yourself. You've got to wait till it's matured, and then you claim it. If you don't claim it within a week, you lose it. Pretty much it, right? And of course, at the moment, so what's going to happen is that with these NFTs, people are going to burn all this in Zen, of course, and then of course they're going to have this tradable NFT with based on the underlying contract. So they're earning the underlying Zen contract with the C rank that's in there. So it's kind of the second phase. Now people are going to burn that, and of course what's going to do is going to burn the supply. So a 2.5 trillion, we're going to lose a lot of that coming up in less than 2 days, because the launch is less than 2 days, and we're going to have the deflation. Now, next phases after that, looks like we're going to be looking at after the deflation phase, which is going to take a long time. So the 15.5 trillion on the Apex category with all those 5 different NFTs, up to 10,000 NFTs there, potentially burning up to 15.5 trillion. There's only 2.5 trillion now, maybe 4.5 trillion by the end of January. You can see how the numbers work. That's why the market is going ballistic at the moment, right? And so where's it going to go? It's speculative, though. It's still speculative. The fundamentals look fantastic. Looks like this big supply squeeze, and it may very well happen like that, but it's still very speculative, and you need to take it from that point of view. It could be brilliant, could be genius if it plays out, if the market comes to the table and plays it out like that. So it's going to be interesting to see. At the moment, of course, in the price chart we've got not only have got people that are buying Zen to burn it and mint the Zen NFTs and burn their stuff, but we've also got a lot of people that are speculating, right? They're speculating in the market, so they buy Zen and they hold it and they're trying to get profit that way. They're playing the short game. We also have large minters on the Ethereum blockchain, particularly that are holding, and of course they could dump down on the liquidity pool at any time. How much is liquidity is in this top pair? Trading here at $781,000 worth. With how much USDC? $487,000. So it's been filling up over the last couple of days with USDC. So imagine a big bucket, and it's been filling up. And so we do have all these risks. So you see what I mean? It's speculative. The basic squeeze between the 15.5 trillion to 2.5 trillion is pretty amazing. How much will we get of that out of the gate in 2 days' time? Will we get 20%, 30%? Will we be burning? How much will we get? We don't know. We're going to find out. I suggest that there's a lot of interest. So I think there's definitely a lot of interest, but we just don't know how big that's going to be. The other side, of course, is that this could play out, this burning thing could play out over the next year, and maybe that makes the whole supply. So you can imagine if by August or so, we've got a certain amount coming out. I think it's like August is like somewhere around about 15 trillion, something like that by the end. I think August is 10 trillion. So if you double check the numbers on Zen Turbo, but something like that, then you can see we've got really potentially a low inflation environment, very tight potentially if it's super successful right through the first year, maybe the first 14 months. We'll see as that, because on the back end of that, we've got about 38 trillion or something is being minted at the moment out to the first, say, 14, 15 months. 440 days is the max mint period at the moment. So that is the mass inflation. So you got inflation here battling against this massive burning NFT. And of course, there's unknowns in there, and those unknowns make it very speculative. So the logic makes it very bullish, but the unknowns make it very speculative. So I just want to put that out there very carefully. You also need to make sure you do your investment due diligence here. But this is an interesting experiment, and it's going to be fun to see it play out. You can participate it or not in it or not, right? So this is the way it goes. Now, the other side of it, of course, is that will we see this price chart do a bit of a U? Will it go up like that and go up there? Who knows? Who knows? We'll find out. So far, it started to do that. We don't know how high it's going to go. Maybe it's going to start doing some parabolics like this, where there's high burning, high use cases. Maybe after the first couple of months, people stop doing it. We know that a lot of people are normally minting. Maybe they'll start just do NFT minting instead. And of course, you can do basically the same thing, but it's tradable. If it's tradable, that means you can start factoring in some of the future mint value into the contract, and then there's a market. And of course, with NFTs, there's a liquid market. People buy and sell on Rarible, OpenSea, things like that. So we'll see how that all plays out. But there's some cool design in there. We're going to see how this goes. I'm actually fairly optimistic about it. Now, in terms of price, you see people putting out price there. Oh, we're going to 1 cent. Well, 1 cent's back up to where it started, right? So I'm not quite that bullish. I certainly think that it could have its moments, particularly if there's a high burn. We'll see that. But of course, you guys all know that once the excitement of the launch is over, we could potentially, if the burn is not really super high, we could have potentially a big sell-off. So just take into account, that's why it's so speculative. And of course, the burn would have to be pretty special, wouldn't it, to really get that in. You also don't know how big the buyers are out there. Is that mostly retail? that are buying, or is it large retails that are in-house? You just don't know. Are there bigger money? Is there centralized exchange playing? Because we know that MEXC has been playing. We know Huobi is in there. We know Gate.io is playing in this particular game to a degree. They're the biggest exchanges, so they're holding a big amount of supply at the moment. So even though we have 2.5 trillion, the exchanges are holding a pretty decent supply. You can see that on the blockchain. Now that's kind of it. So we've got the inflation versus the NFT and the burning. So we've got deflation. We're going to see how that battles out. That's fun, part of the fun. I like a bit of fun in crypto, and this is kind of where this fits. So that's kind of where this is at the moment. We can see that the timing, there's 13,605 blocks until the launch of the Zen NFTs. And of course, if we look at the other calculator, basically 1 day and 21 hours and 19 minutes until the Zen NFT launches and the burning begins. And of course, why do people do it? Because they can trade the future value. That is why people are looking to do this certain approach. Is it going to be worth it to them? Well, they're all kind of working on, if I burn my NFT and then I'm going to earn it back through the mint, and I trade that mint value potentially with future value, and then if I burn the mint, then it's burning the actual circulating supply. That's kind of a trade-off there in terms of value. We'll see how it all plays out at the end. That's kind of the logic there, if you're wondering why people would do it. The other side of course, is that the 10,000 NFTs have a rareability to them, and so now you're playing on the NFT game on top of the underlying Zen contract that's sitting inside these NFTs when you mint out, right? So we're going to see how all that plays out. It's going to be fun to watch as well. Let us know in the chat there what you guys think of that. But that's kind of where we are there. Now, Jack did post another pump of mental out a couple of hours ago. He says we have originally planned to set Zen NFT royalty fees to 2.5%. So basically, all these NFTs, these 10,000 NFTs in the Apex category, they will all be tradable and have a 2.5% fee to them. Now, he's put out a proposal to raise the fee to 5% from 2.5% to buy back Zen. So it's a buyback feature here from the open market to burn it and reduce the Zen total supply. So another burn mechanism, not just the NFTs themselves, but actually trading fees. And we know those add up, right? Just like Pulsechain, they can add up and pretty influential on the price itself over time. Now, he's got open market to burn it, reducing the Zen total supply. Please vote in favor. Well, you can see my vote there. I voted in favor of the 5% and the burn. And, of course, someone asked him, where is the other 2.5% going? A fair question, right? Fair question. It's supposed to be first principles, right? First principles, which means that no one has an advantage, right? It's supposed to be first principles. So there we are. He goes marketing, audits, new projects that will burn Zen. So that's a fair question. In other words, based on this answer, none of it's going back to himself as a founder, because he's founding this project on first principles, which means that he has to compete for Zen just like everybody else. He has to mint his own Zen just like everybody else. And we know that he has said that he's minted quite a bit of Zen himself. And his strategy is to go long, right? He's playing the long game. And why? Because you can see with the 15.5 trillion burn, if this plays out like that, it could be pretty powerful. Now, the second category of Zens, the limiteds, they also require 10 million Zen. Of course, that's unlimited. So we could have burning infinitum with the limiteds. Once the 10,000 NFTs have gone, we could have a lot of these second categories minted as well. And there's obviously 3 categories of NFTs out there. So it's going to be fun to see this play out. Like I say, previously, this is a possible play. It might be a bit of a probable play at the moment. And, of course, if the burning takes out, then obviously that lifts this into the probable play category because the burnings go so well. And, of course, the circulating supply is decreasing. And the number of users is, if they get the medium exchange and get mass adoption up to 100 million over a period of time, that is going to make it super bullish. So there we are. That is the lay of the land for this at the moment. Now, third phase, we talked about inflation. Now we've got deflation about to launch. And then the third phase is staking NFTs, right? Staking NFTs, getting yield, just like you can stake your minted Zen when it comes out. You can stake that as well. With that, of course, we're also looking potentially third, fourth stage is with lending, and potentially that might even have some sort of leverage play as well, but lending on NFTs as well. So this is some of the things that Jack's talked about, and there's a few others out there as well if you stay tuned. So that's kind of a wrap up of what's going on there. And of course, you can see the countdown, 1 day and 21 hours to go. What will happen to this price? We're currently at 5,755. Is it going to do something like this where we had a 10x price movement? We were going to see, is it going to run up to the launch in 2 days' time and then sell off? Or is it the burn going to be so terrific and there's big players coming in that they absorb any of those speculators selling off, and then they push the price up? So we're going to see how that plays out. Typically, they always sell off, but maybe this does every so often. Some of these projects actually continue on, and they absorb the selling speculators, and they go up and away. And of course, if the burn is significant enough, maybe some bigger buyers come and go, hey, this burning supply is really good. There's not much second supply. And then maybe some of the big players come and say, well, I'm going to get in on this and help this project along because the burning was better than expected. And here we go. So I think this fits in kind of with the Jacks talking about going long with the mints because, you've got 12 to 14 months out there and you'll have relatively low inflation then too if this 15.5 trillion plus the unlimited ones, the limited ones, unlimited in the burn, they get taken up as well. So we'll see. It's going to be fun to see. Welcome to crypto. Welcome to fun and games. Welcome to fun and games. It's nice to see this play out. Now, obviously, there's other things that could happen further down the track. Maybe his contacts at Google, he ends up getting this on a major tech platform and they use it as its main currency. You just never know where this could lead, especially if they've got 100 million users. A tech company will go, wow, you got 100 million users over 10 chains? Heck yeah, we'll bring you on. It's kind of like that. So we'll see. The other thing, of course, other third-party dApps coming on to use this. It creates an ecosystem, just like SHIB. SHIB started as a meme coin. Now it's building itself out into an ecosystem with multiple tokens. I mean, they just launched another one, I think. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this play out as well. Now, obviously, in crypto, there's tens of thousands of projects, right? And really, in crypto, it's about finding the better quality ones. And you just never know. Sometimes the things that people criticize the most end up being pretty good. There's plenty of room for, as Richard Hart always says about McDonald's, and you can fork Ethereum and you have another McDonald's across the road. You reduce the load and all this stuff. Well, you can also have a Burger King down the road as well. You can also have what else? Burger King. You can also have a Hungry Jack's. That's in Australia. You can have a Hungry Jack's. In this case, that would be a good name, right? Hungry Jack's for Zen. That'd be pretty funny. So there are room for other brands, not just other chains, other stores in the same chain. So we'll see how this plays out. Once again, speculative, but some pretty interesting and potentially exciting stuff here. We'll see how it plays out. So that's kind of my fair view. Hopefully that was a pretty fair view of where I think things are going. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Obviously all the links are in the Discord. If you go to Pulsechain Projects, you'll see the link there. That's the other thing, of course, is the flow-on effects. The biggest Zen gets, and of course, getting onto Pulsechain, the more users that will come onto Pulsechain. This is also true for Texan token, right? They're targeting something like 300 to 400,000 people in Texas, plus they're targeting people internationally as well. The more people that are coming through these projects, they come into Pulsechain, the better, right? Whether they're no coiners or crypto pros, the bigger Pulsechain will be, right? With more projects with vibrant audiences, and they all flow into that. Now, we see Internet Money at the moment doing a multi-chain sacrifice. Now, obviously, all the users, if they're on multi-chains, can flow into Pulsechain. The more people that hear about it, right, because they're interacting with things that are connected in some way, and either socially or technologically. And, of course, that bodes well for Pulsechain. So I'm excited about all of these things. I'm always thinking of the big picture, right? How do we get benefit out of this? Not just as an individual investor, but as the Pulsechain ecosystem, because we want to take over crypto, right? And as you guys know, I'm very, very excited about the potential for doing that as being very probable in my view. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people discount certain things like that because Pulsechain hasn't launched yet. So they want to discount the whole value chain that's about to launch. But once Pulsechain launches, you're in another environment, right? It's like going from a rainy day to a sunny day. And people go, oh, man, I forgot all about the conversations we had on the rainy day. It's damn sunny outside, right? So it's just like that for me. And so I just ignore a lot of that fun stuff that you might see out there because we already know a lot of that stuff, right? We already know, we talk about it. And, of course, we're looking for the sunshiny day, and it's coming. So stay tuned. Get your umbrella for the wet days and get out your slip, slop, slap for the sunny days. That's pretty much it. Right, so that is coming up there pretty close with the old countdown. I will leave the countdown in the Discord there, in the chat there if you want to check that out. Before we do that, though, let's get into the final one there. We're just going to quickly talk about the weight airdrop, right? So with Zen, you can mint free claim that. And obviously with Zen NFTs coming up, you can do that through NFTs, which means they're tradable. And you can factor in the future there, trade them. The other thing with the weight token, of course, at the moment, this is going to be our fiat on-ramp, off-ramp for Pulsechain and stablecoin and stuff like that. It's currently just trading around about just under 0.2 of a penny. This could turn around potentially if some of the fees from these utilities, particularly the fiat on-ramp, off-ramp, coming into weight token, maybe that's part of the surprise. Then this might actually turn around pretty big, and the weight token may end up being a significant token in the ecosystem. So imagine we got Pulse and Pulsechain and stuff like that, and Hex, and then on top of that, you're going to have some of your top tier tokens, which are running are valued by the intrinsic value from the utilities that they provide. Weight token may end up joining that group. That kind of feels like where it's heading with the on-ramp, off-ramp. It will have a key role sitting on that side of the ecosystem where money comes in and out of the system. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. So that is kind of there at the moment. We've got Paul Pleb at the moment is sitting at 2,098. So we're going to leave it there. Paul Pleb is pretty poor, but hey, it's free. So there we are. We'll see what happens with that one over time. That's pretty much it. We're going to get into BNB Pot. Before we do that, of course, we're going to, this is our other big thing that's happening at the moment. So we'll talk about Zen and pretty much full. Now we're going to talk about BNB Pot. Obviously, this is about to launch. I'm not sure if it's launched yet because I'll be talking about Zen, but we'll try and see whether this is going to be launching within the next hour or so or something like that. So we'll check it out. Before we do that, though, let's get into some of the commentaries. Let's see who else is in our house here. We just talked about Zen. Humberto says, thank you. Like always, awesome stream, says Humberto. I appreciate that. Christian says, I believe Friday Zen NFT will launch. That's correct. Space Auction says ASICs. Yeah, I'm not talking about Pulse Bitcoin and ASICs today. I've been talking about them every day. I'm going to be talking about them more intermittently now, but we will probably bring that up tomorrow. So I'll talk about Pulse Bitcoin and that tomorrow. Zen NFTs will make Gwei go high up. That's true. So that's the other side of thing. Of course, when people mint Zen and the NFTs in particular, the gas fees will be very high. So if you're going to mint Zen NFTs, a lot of other people would. So if you're not getting the big NFTs, I would just wait until the gas fees are lower and then mint your NFTs. I'm sure the 10,000 are not going to sell out on the first day. If they did, then you might see 1 cent or something on the chart. But I'm just saying that's very unlikely, right? I think we're going to do. I think the burn will be good. I think the Zen NFT update will be good. But just be careful that it's still that speculative thing. We don't want people to get wrecked on that. Jack says. Jack built a well-built money machine. If you was to ask me, says Christian, I think it will be better to buy NFTs once it is available in the market. Producer Michael's in the house there with Zen. Yep, certainly gaining a bit more traction of people. It's always good to keep an open mind about stuff because, like I say, what could be the difference between a McDonald's and a Burger King, or in this case, what did I say? Hungry Jack's. It's Australian. I've actually never been to a Hungry Jack's, by the way. I just know that it's an Australian food place. J-Man's the house there. Hello, everyone. Good to see J-Man. Christian says, I got a 5 Zen. I'm bullish, says Christian there. Christian Collins says, Suitman is dropping alpha. Nice one there, Christian. Appreciate that. Happy holidays, says Francis. Happy holidays to you, or as I always like to say, Christmas holidays, because we know why they turned to happy holidays. They were trying to kill off our Western culture. That's why they moved to that phrase. But hey, I accept your nice sentiment there. Crypto T's in the house there. Zen to the moon. And of course, the Christian says Jack is building more things for Zen. That's true. There is a bigger roadmap out to play. J-Man says BNB has a nice little pump today. And well, we're talking about that now. So it's good we got up to that one. That's from J-Man. We've got this here. So this was from yesterday. This was from the 28th here. And of course, this was from BNB Pot. Calling roulette NFT owners, get your liquidity ready. World's first fully decentralized roulette tables going live in 30 hours. Now, obviously, we talk about BNB Pot from a staker's point of view on this channel because we're largely doing more conservative crypto stuff. And of course, on this one here, they did auctions for NFTs and they sold those off. And so people own the NFTs. People own the crypto casino, or iGaming, as some people like to call it. And of course, this is the world's first peer-to-peer crypto casino. It is new technology in crypto. I always say that, and that's not as common. As the more time you spend in crypto, the more you realize that there's really not that much innovation. There's innovations in bridges and blockchains, but not like this. This is a kind of a fundamental shift with pushing the boundaries of crypto. And of course, that's exciting to be a part of it, really. So anyway, that was the call there. Now, obviously, with decentralized stuff, you are relying on the people with the NFTs to actually fund them. So this is one of the issues. So it's not without its own risks, but it's also an exciting opportunity as well. So people aren't, presumably if people aren't using the NFTs, they can sell them. And of course, someone else can fund them instead. So just the way it goes. Let's have a quick look at the price. The price did indeed pump. It's funny, I was going to buy some in here just before it pumped. I didn't, but I was going to. But anyway, it got up to, the low was $6.19 yesterday. It got up to $8.30, and it's currently at $7.22. That's kind of where we are there at the moment. So what that was a nice little 34% pump. and about 40% over the last 3 days. And it's currently $7.22 there. So nice. Remember, this is the first, not only is this the world's first peer-to-peer crypto casino, but it's also the first Sacrifice project on the Pulsechain that is actually launched. Now, obviously, Pulsechain's taken longer than expected, and so some of these projects are already launching on other chains. We see Internet Money doing that, BNB Pot, and things like that. But in any case, this has been performed pretty well so far. Now, let's have a quick look at the BNB Pot. We are waiting. I'm going to refresh this browser. This is BNB Pot DAT. Now, you can find this on the Discord. If you go to Discord under useful links, you'll see it at the bottom there under, I can't remember what I called it, but Spotlight Project, something like that. You can definitely check that out. Let me jump over to, let me just log on here. I think that's got, yeah, so we've got, it doesn't look like it's launched. I know that it's been delayed slightly. So let me go to the update. PSI gave us an update in the Pulsechain chat in the Discord. And he says that BNB Pot Roulette launch has been delayed. Should now launch 2 hours from now. So that was 12 p.m. So that was 2 hours. So it's should be about now, right? Should be about now. So we may be very lucky to see that. Apparently, looking at the NFT owner wallets, 2 tables are preparing to provide liquidity. So they know at least 2 tables are going to be providing liquidity. One is actually going to be Zen, ironically enough, and the other one is going to be Cake. Remember, this BNB Pot is on BSC chain. So it looks like we're going to have at least, at the very least, the Zen and Cake roulettes up for grabs. So it should be fun to see. All right, so cool. That is pretty much that. So I don't know if they've launched quite yet. We'll be trying to cover this. We might have to come back to this. Let me just go back to the BNB Pot, see whether they've got any update here. They typically update their Telegram far more than they do the Twitter, but we'll be looking out for this. This could be imminently launching on BNB Pot, so looking forward to that. The Christian's got the Zen on there. Danu says smash the like button. I said it now. Yeah, nice one there, Danu. Appreciate that. Definitely smash the like and hit the subscribe button as well. I am Groot. Gobble, gobble, says Michael. What else there? QQ says, feels like the bottom is here. I'm buying. Nice one, QQ. J-Man says, I believe Roulette is launching on BNB Pot soon. Yep, that's what we're covering at the moment. Hungry Jacks, FTW, says Brennan. Pulsechain is going to be insane, says J-Man. It is. And that's what I try to say on this channel. No matter what's happening in the market, Pulsechain is still coming. These things are still coming. And we're going to be talking about those shortly, so stay tuned for that. Billy X says, bottom isn't in yet. Still going to 10K and pray. BTC will be down to ETH. We'll bring down ALT's DCA. Yeah, and that's true. So that scenario is still the main expected scenario. And like I said, for me, the only caution that Hex would have in particular would be, besides dollar cost averaging, because it is a reasonable price to get at the moment, is if we get that Pulsechain testnet V3. So that is, we were after that cushion, right? That pump and cushion. That's from that bearish scenario that Billy's talking about in terms of finding the bottom. QQ says, can you look into that ZK thing Richard Hart mentioned for privacy on ETH? Yeah, probably. I faintly remember him talking about that some time ago, QQ. I'll try and look at that unless he's posted something new I'm not aware of. I probably have talked about that in the past, the ZK roll-up things you're talking about. That's what ETH is working on for the next phase to get the TPS up on ETH. An amazing train. It is indeed. It is an amazing train, that's for sure. Danny says, Superman, do you think it would be necessary to make another testnet if RH want to implement the newest Uniswap version? Possibly, Danny. That's definitely a possibility. You can't rule that out. Danny, you can't rule it out. I've only mentioned that once before, but definitely that is a possibility. We could have 2. We could have testnet V4. There is a possibility. And in that time zone too, in the April, in the mark there. QQ says, I look into Kira NFTs. They look super nice. And what else? Let's jump over here. We've got BNBP is very special for me, says Kristen. Yeah, look, I'm very optimistic about the BNBP. It's going to be a longer journey. We're going to be watching this play out, but obviously it's going to be launching on 5 AVM chains. Pulsechain hopefully is the next one, right? So that's what we're looking forward to there. Pulsanians in house here. Hey, bro, what's your opinion on in-house fighting going on with Hexkins regarding Hex and Pulse Bitcoin? You reckon it's another attempt to discourage investors to sell Hex at a loss? Hey, look, I think this is a no drama channel, so we try not to talk about this sort of stuff. We're a no drama and a family channel, but I'll just give a brief comment to that is that just stick on the fundamentals of Hex, right? I don't interact with those two. I mean, all the stuff they're saying, we know all that stuff, right? We know it all. Some of it's true, some of it's half true, some of it's not true. You know, half true is not a really real thing, but you get my point. It's kind of like a middle ground. Maybe there's 2 sides to that particular issue. But yeah, I wouldn't be careful following people too. You can get caught up with the aura of somebody, as it were. They say a lot of good things, and it's good you take the good stuff, but maybe some things they're wrong about. So you need to be critical. I always say be a critical thinker and hear many views on something. It's always a good way to go. That's probably what I'd say. But yeah, I would just say focus on the fundamentals of Hex and Pulsechain. That's still coming. And of course, we're still expecting that. Richard's been signaling that. So there's no real change there. Timing is just obviously delayed. Now, we're obviously on this channel, I don't hide the fact it's been a long time with Pulsechain. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it hasn't been a long time. So we are waiting for it. And, as I put in my charts, I do try and paint a realistic picture of when I think, based on all the information we have at the moment, of when it might actually happen. So that's what we keep doing on this channel. We've been doing it for 18 months. And of course, we're hoping that this is pretty close to the real thing in this current representation I've got on here. So we'll just have to be a bit more patient until that time. Hex Down Under says, anyone need their car washed? I need money for the tips, says Hex Down Under. That's funny, man. Yeah. Reach out to Hex Down Under if you need your car washed. You want some money to get by the dip. I can't wait for Powerball on BNB Pot. Yeah, I think there's going to be lots of great games. I'm actually waiting for the price calls, right? I think the price calls are going to be fun. We've got Lies Beneath in the house. How are you today? Very, very good. Hex, EHEX, PLS, and PLS for the win. Absolutely. It's going to be absolutely exciting when it does launch as well. I can't wait for the Pulsechain buy and burn. I know I haven't talked about much that lately, but we're looking forward to the Pulsechain buy and burn. I imagine that having multiple trading pairs, thousands of trading pairs could be really, really bullish as well. All right, cool. Let us jump over to, we're going to jump back to the BNB pot. We're waiting for that to launch. I'm going to refresh here just to make sure. No, it hasn't launched yet. Powerball is coming up after the roulette, and then apparently Fortune Wheel. That's they're extending that, building that out a bit more. And then, of course, sports and price calls. I'm really looking forward to price calls. Not sure how much I'd use it. I might just make, I'd probably make a bet here and there. Roulette's probably the biggest game I'd probably use out of here. But maybe Powerball too. Maybe Powerball might end up playing a bit of that. Now, I don't typically play this stuff, but if I was to, these are kind of the ones that I do like at the moment. So we'll see. Now, I think on the all statistics as well, we've got, it's coming up here. Let's have a look here. The staking, we've got 77.37% staked. The lottery, we've got some lottery in there. People have been winning those. The burn events, we've got some more burning. That's a pretty decent amount. We're down to 997,247. So we're slowly almost up to 3,000 burned off there. It's kind of cool. When we get more games, the burning is going to be much faster. So don't get tricked out by that because that could be really start to help with the price pressure, especially if the staking remains really high because that's squeezing out that circulating supply and only a certain amount of circulating supply gets in the liquidity pool. So it gets even better. That's what we're looking at very closely. That's why I say it's a bit of a journey over the next 12 months. We're going to be watching that play out. Airdrops, of course, 1 day and 21 hours to go. Woohoo! To airdrop number 4. Excited. If you're staking, you're excited for that. You get some more payment there. And it starts off small, but as we only got 1 game so far. And so as it grows more games, we're about to get 2 games in the moment. We're looking forward to that. Now, I want to do an honorable mention here to Internet Money. This sacrifice is about to close off in less than a day. So 22 hours and 50 minutes. I may very well have KG on the show tomorrow. We'll see. I've put out an invite to him. The team has reached out, and I've also put an invite out. So it's sort of 2 cars, but no, 2 ships passing in the night, something like that. And of course, this is still out there at the moment. Now, this is the world's first, I guess, profit sharing wallet, and of course, dedicated, the first wallet, as I understand it, dedicated to Pulsechain as well, integrated with Pulsechain, and of course, using the testnet at the moment. They do have their beta version out, I think it is at the moment. You can download the wallet and play around. It is real, so just got to be, make sure you do sensible things on there. I think they're going live. Their first, like the full wallet, commercial wallet level is going live in Q1 next year. So that's coming up pretty quickly. I think that's the time frame. Now the sacrifice has only got 22 hours and 50 minutes to go. The credit for the first sacrifice for the Pulsechain was 1.6 million. And of course, people are getting a copy on the multi-chain. The multi-chain sacrifice so far is 803,000. Obviously, they're going on multiple EVMs over a period of time. So they're up to 2.4 million at the moment. So this is definitely in the house. You can find this in the Discord, though, of course, under the sacrifice links in Pulsechain. So you go to Pulsechain links, you'll find the sacrifices there. That is the one there. But I will try and get KG on tomorrow. That'd be cool. I will try and get him on tomorrow. He's been on every single other Hex and Pulsechain channel. Might as well have him on this one, right? Woohoo! All right, rock on. We got Sandy says, yeah, that would be nice to have KG. I think he's streaming for the sacrifice ending too. Yeah. Okay, cool. So he may or may not be on this channel if he's streaming himself at the end, because at the moment, of course, I'll be covering the end of the sacrifice period. So we'll see if he comes on. He comes on. That's kind of like that. It is an opportunity. Excuse me. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let's quickly look at Pulsechain. Now, I have got the highest of stakes Pulsechain and Hex conference. So we've got obviously Power City. I did talk about this update the other day. This was from KDP, who gave us the lead on Pulsechain testnet alpha there. Now we've got near Pulsechain testnet with 2 of our ground up builds, automated yield compound for liquid loans, and the staking platform. That's the core product where you stake your Watt token. This sacrifice is also open. Internet Money's open. Power City's open, and Famous is open, I believe, as well. And of course, those 3 you can what I call kind of fit in the top AAA category. Out of those, of course, the clear standout for me is Power City. Now, Famous may do particularly well if a lot of the margin traders come. There's a decent chance that might happen, particularly on Pulsechain. Could end up being a behemoth. But in any case, I'm playing on probability, so still ranking the Power City up there. With the Internet Money, a couple of really good advantages there. Dedicated Pulsechain, profit sharing, that's fantastic. And of course, referrals as well, airdrops and things like that, when people get on there. So it's got a lot of cool mechanisms. So we're looking forward to seeing that. Obviously, they've got to get people using it, and they may do very well at that. So they may get a lot of people. That's still a question mark, though, right? So kind of rank those in that order. That's kind of cool. So that is Power City. Not resting, right? And the cool thing about this is that we'll probably have a lot of these top AAA will all be ready by the time Pulsechain launches, especially if it is in that time zone between April and May. So if it's in that zone, then it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have not just the chain and PulseX, but on-ramps, off-ramps, stable coins, and top-tier utility projects, including DeFi, cross-chain, and yield amplifiers and stuff like that. So it's going to be pretty cool. And wallets. Yeah, and wallets. Add wallets in there too. That's pretty much it. Let's get into Hex Daily Stats. So we're up to day 1,122, 28th of December, 2022. And of course, if you want to check out hex.com, links in the video description. We're currently at 1.9 cents on the timestamp there, down 5.5% on the day. You can see the last 10 days have been a bit rough, but of course, there's always an opportunity where the rough is. There will be a bottom at some stage. And of course, you will get, if you buy on the bottom, you will have a bit of a bragging rights there. We'll see. Payout per T-share is 6.377 Hex per T-share. Another good day in the office for us Hex takers. We've got the T-share price there, $484. So that is also cool. If we went to the all-time high price, that'd be around $13,000. Given that the share rate is just continuing to go up and to the right. It's currently 4 Hex, increased by 4.6 Hex per T-share at 25,378. Now, obviously, you can get this for a third of the price if you stake out for 10 years. You get 20% more shares when you stake your Hex. Your Hex gets burned, you get shares in return. And, of course, you get 20% more per year up to 10 years. That would be 200%, basically a third of the price if you decided to go longer pays better. One of the big features of the Hex contract when you stake. Average stake length there, 6.75 years. So people are around for a long time in the community. The APY yield rate there, that's a compounding rate. Yield and emergency in-stake penalties. That yield is the inflation from the contract. And emergency stake penalties, those are people that don't keep their responsibilities with their stakes, is 38.7% in Hex terms. So paid out in Hex. Obviously, the price of US dollar price can move around a lot. It goes through bear markets, bull markets, parallels, and all sorts of stuff. It does lots of crazy things. We got 397.4 million Hex in the pool. We got 9.3 million US dollars in the pool. We got 1,179 ETH in the pool at the moment. That is our liquidity. And of course, that goes up and down based on people buying and selling. Goes up and down based on people adding liquidity and removing liquidity. So that's how those move around. The T-shares in the moment, as Hex is easy to understand, we have a reward pool with inflation and penalties. We have an ownership pool with T-shares standing for trillions of shares. If one goes up or down, then your Hex payout per T-share goes up or down. And of course, basically, it's just going to go up and to the right, pretty for the most part. The T-shares have gone down again, 5,458. One of the, I guess, what would you call it? One of the phenomena, one of the behavioral characteristics when the price is low is different. The characteristics we see with staking. Hex is all about staking T-shares, really. Obviously, it is used for other things as well, liquidity and speculation, all sorts of stuff. But we have different things happen when the price is low. different things happen when the price is high, right? So we see that at the moment where the price is low, we are seeing a lot of, particularly with the downtrend price thing, we see a lot of penalties, a lot of people early in staking, getting scared maybe, and selling down. So we get to see that sort of stuff. They go, oh, I want to protect my US dollar value portfolio, which is, normal behavior, but they sell their T-shares out. So maybe they got their T-shares back when it was 10,000 a share rate. Now it's 25. So once you burn your T-shares, though, you're out. You've got to pay the current T-share rate, and then you've got to stay in longer to get the yield, relative yield, right? So it's kind of how that plays. And, of course, earlier pays better in that regard. So there are trade-offs for what people's decisions. Everyone makes trade-offs. And typically, if you keep to your HEX stakes, you'll get the full reward at the end. So it's time in the market. So this is the way it goes. So we've got T-shares there, 10,229,585. Let's have a look at the total supply. No, we're going to jump through all that sort of stuff. Let's have a look here. Stake percentage of coins, 9.69% of all HEX is staked. Actually, let's look at the stake percentage of coins because I haven't looked at that for a while. 62,585,000,000 HEX is staked at the moment. And, of course, the OA is in there as well. I think somewhere from last time I checked, 7 million? 7 billion, something like that is HEX OA stakes, somewhere in that ballpark, maybe 6.8. It's a bit lower probably, but there we are. I do expect after Pulsechain launches, I'm expecting the OA to probably do some more stakes to lower the relative APY. We'll see what that does there. Richard's kind of indicated that in a previous comment. That's kind of where I get the basis for that, not just my pure speculation. Penalties, 1.9 million HEX in penalties. We've also got the current holders up 225. Big day in current holders today. Obviously, a big day there. 225 holders up to 315, 208. Another good day for the stakers, actually, 54 up to 116,723. This is the number I really look at closely because this is what HEX is all about, getting those T-shares and staking. And, of course, we've got the increase in holders, 236 to 519,108. And this is all, of course, before Pulsechain, for the highest of stakes, before the HEX investment trust goes public, all that sort of good stuff there. And, of course, Rack and Rochelle, everything blockchain, all those different fundamentals play out. We're on day 1,123, folks. And, of course, we're starting off with pretty much a base amount of HEX per T-share of 6.275. That is our base. It just keeps going up. So preserving those T-shares, getting more T-shares, particularly on a price pullback, is at the bottom of a bear market is for HEX is pretty cool. Getting those juicy T-shares, playing the long game. All right, so cool. That's pretty much there. Let's have a look. Let's go back to BNB Pot and see whether that's who we've got the games yet. Let's have a look there. Roulette. No, nothing there yet. Let's refresh the old Telegram. Now we may not end up covering this during the live stream. I may have to. Maybe I'll do a special coverage later on during the day if we miss it now because we're just not quite sure. It's supposed to launch about now. I'm just not quite sure. All right, so let's go to the other thing. So we've talked about the HEX daily stats, but we've talked about the Pulsechain still coming, testing at V3. The highest of stakes is what we're talking about here as well. Now the highest of stakes.com. We're expecting this in Q1, Q2. We scroll down to the bottom there. You can see the production timeline, and of course we're in this zone here, Q1 2023 to Q2 2023, official premiere and distribution. Now, we did see on a video not too long ago, Richard Hart saying, I just wanted out. I want the highest of stakes out. I want everyone to see it. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool there. But, of course, we did see the final update for the year from the highest of stakes team, which is independent of Richard Hart, saying that we are independent of Richard Hart. We're the ones that decide when it launches. We're the one doing all the deals. So that was kind of cool. And then, of course, he got the official movie premiere location to be determined. The goal of a top 5 OTT, in other words, getting a big streamer like Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu. Obviously, they've been working on that sales agreement. Now, remember, when you deal with these people, you've got the big streamers like Netflix. In the middle, you've got these agencies, and then you've got the highest of stakes. And they have to negotiate through that. They have to get a salesperson, negotiate with the agents, and then they try to get through to these big streamers and make deals, right? Get deals done. Now, the advantage that the highest of stakes team has is that they have something like 5 Emmys or something like that. So, yeah, 5 Emmys, more than 100 million impressions worldwide. So they already kind of have some golden ticket to get themselves through the door there. And, of course, we know that in crypto documentaries, has there really been anything cool out? Not really. It's been everyone's interested in crypto, right? People want to regulate a 1 trillion market, apparently, because they think it's a big deal, right? It's a very small market globally, right? Derivatives are in the hundreds of trillions of dollars, right? Derivatives are placed. They're probably in the quintillions, actually. It's probably a quintillion or something. So it's really funny what people talk about, but it's got high profile, right? And it is the best performing asset class as well. So even though it's small, it is pretty amazing. And of course, so people want to hear about that. They love to hear about personalities, entertainers, all the entertainers doing NFTs and stuff like that. Every cat and dog is doing it as well. Why do I always use the cat and dog? It must be some of the slang that we use down here in New Zealand. But anyway, so that is coming up there. Now, there may be antagonists in this documentary, right? I haven't seen it. People have said it's very, very good. And of course, they were watching it before the 30-piece musical score was made. So with the music added, if they thought it was good before that, must be really, really great. And of course, we're looking forward to that coming out. Now, they may have antagonists. There may be some negative stuff in there. But hey, I think that generally works for good, right? So even if you get positive stuff in there, negative stuff in there, it generates the engagement. And of course, that may end up being very good for, generally speaking, a big net benefit, as people on either side of the camps love them, hate them, or whatever. You get excited and find out. Now, we could potentially reach hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions. It could be really massive. We will see how that all plays out in the end. Obviously, deals need to be made. And of course, we look forward to updates. So that is a pump mental coming up for the Hex and Pulsechain ecosystem. No one else has got it, right? No one else has got it. That's specific and could potentially be a massive branding thing that like nothing else. So basically, putting Hex and Pulsechain on the map, a bit like how people think of Bitcoin. They talk about Bitcoin, could be like that, but it will have a face. There's no face of Satoshi, right? There's some fake people, but there's no official Satoshi out there. And of course, Richard could become more famous than maybe he wanted to. But hey, if you're looking for domination like Richard likes, then congratulations. So you may very well get it. You probably get noticed too. There's no place once you're famous like that, you can't hide anywhere. I think of the Sylvester Stallone family. Every time they're on a holiday, there's paparazzi and photos and people wanting to meet them. Maybe get a bit like that. You just never know with these things. Right, so that's the highest of stakes. We're expecting that to come out Q1, Q2. And of course, in the shorter term, though, we have to wait for the highest of stakes. We've got a very big growing conference here from Matty Allen with the Hex conference, third annual conference coming up from the 6th of January to the 9th of January. 4 days of excitement there. It's going to be pretty exciting. These keep getting better and better. Matty learns from each of them, and he's got a nice little team behind him as well, and keeps building this out. So we're very excited there. Now, Richard Hart's going to be founder of Hex, will be there. So obviously, a lot of people have been calling for Hex to do Richard do streams and things like that. Richard has said that he's working on his museum and stuff like that. So it hasn't been his castle as much or something. So anyway, we've got the keynote speaker, Richard Hart. That's going to be great to hear from him. You never know what he might say there. Obviously, always high expectations, especially when we're waiting for Pulsechain. So we'll see what he comes up with for that one. I just hope that he rests really well and that he enjoys himself, on that conference there. So I just hope he enjoys himself. We've got Audrey de Grey there as well. Longevity Expert's going to be there, and potentially up to 160 YouTubers, influencers out there. Probably all your favorites should be on this conference over the 4-day period. That's huge, man. How many crypto communities have that? If you go to the Bitcoin ones, they're pretty lame. And I'm being optimistic because I like Bitcoin, I'm not anti-Bitcoin. But the conference is a little bit lame. But hey, maybe some of the, I don't know, what are some of the best conferences? Let me know in the chat there what you think some of the best community conferences are. Are the SHIB? Maybe the Asia meetups and for SHIB are better. You let me know in the chat there. But definitely Hex is a standout with the conferences, and of course led by Matty Allen, and of course other people out there supporting. So it's pretty neat. So that's coming up, folks. And of course it's free. It's online and it's free, which is pretty cool. There is Matt's donation address if you want to support him there. Now the videos are already up there for day 1. Day 2, day 3, and day 4. If you want to get yourself notified, you can do that early on. So that's kind of where we are there. All right, cool. Hey, I'm almost coming up to 2 hours on the live stream. This is crazy holiday live streaming. We just get longer and longer and longer. It's just the way we roll on this channel. We've got a couple more comments in the chat, so let's get to that. We've got QQ with the woohoo. I'm excited too, QQ. Billy X says, just sacrifice for internet money, baby. Hey, nice one there, Billy X. You got in just in time. And of course, all the best too, Billy. I got the HSI from the auctions and put them in my wallet together with my other t-shirts. Nice one, Danu. That's so cool. So people have staking ladders. Not only do they have Hex stakes with the normal go.win, go.hex.win, but they also have got HSI NFTs, which is pretty cool. HSI stakes as well. Pretty awesome. Mo Mindsets in House. Superman the Great keeps us all motivated. Hey, I'm excited. And of course, Richard keeps indicating the right direction. And I'm following that direction. That's the kind of it there. You don't have to like everything out there. You don't have to agree with everybody. And of course, but you can and certainly enjoy the journey. And of course, we have lots of cool things coming. QQ says KG having his sacrifice for wallet coins right now. Says QQ having his sacrifice for what's. You mean he's live streaming? Maybe he's live streaming now. Maybe he is. Sandy Beach in the house there. Thank you, Hex Token. Hey, you're welcome, Sandy. We've got almost 5 minutes left to go in for 2 hours, which is pretty good. The Sapper says, wonder wonder who those are selling. Icosa ever consider selling stakes that are not 5 for 5 days? Perhaps shorter stakes might be more attractive. Yeah, sometimes that's the case. If I'm understanding what you're saying there, right? They might be doing that. All right, so cool. That is the conference. Did I post the link? Yeah, I did post the link. That is the link for the conference. Just get yourself notified for those videos. I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff. You always hear some perspectives maybe you haven't thought of. It's a cool thing about having so many people. We have diversity of views, which is something we've got to protect, right? Diversity of views. All right, so cool. That is that. Let's quickly check, see if the BNB roulette's come out yet. Nothing yet. Let me check my Discord to see whether PSI is giving any updates. Nothing in there that I can see. Nothing in there that I can see. All right, so let's have a look at it. Nothing. No, nothing yet. It's got to be pretty imminent, though. I do think that Jim Ray Crypto is going to be covering the launch, but I'm not sure. It certainly hasn't launched at the moment. It was going to be delayed, so it hasn't quite launched yet. We've got BNBP at $7.42, getting a little bit of a move on the second day here, or the fourth day actually. And of course, we'll see where this goes to over time. I'm very excited about this project. I think it's pretty cool. As a business, because we have two types of projects you think about. We have inflation-based projects, some with great tokenomics, some with bad tokenomics, some with big communities, some with small communities. And typically you want big communities and great tokenomics, right? You want that kind of thing. And typically the valuation lower, so you can go up the valuation. Then we have businesses, right? Utilities. And I talk about that all the time because if you want to have a diversified portfolio that's defendable, you want to have businesses rolling in with those fees that are utilities that people actually use, a bit like eating bread. And then you take the profits out of there. It's kind of a cool way of doing that. So that's what we like about this as well. Not only is it great, cool technology, but it is a business that we can enjoy and benefit from. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, it doesn't seem to have launched. Hey, maybe later on today, if it does launch, I might do a short video or something like that, or live stream on the roulette. We'll see how it goes. It hasn't quite launched yet, but I will try and cover it later today if it does launch, just the way it is. Let's have a quick look on the BNB Pot page, see if it's updated there. Let's have a look. Nothing yet there. We can go in here, but I don't think there's any update yet. No. Lots of comments though, isn't there? Look at all these comments. Lots of people in there about that. All right, cool. Let's jump over to here. We've got a couple more comments. Danny says, I got up to there. Danny says, if we have another Hex streamer, Hal makes 8-hour streams. We have with Rich Hart, Superman, and the other one always on 24 hours Hex live stream. Says Danny, nice one. I like that. Yes, he's live right now. Who's live? KG. I guess you mean KG. Internet Money Wallet for the win. Yeah, cheers everybody. I forgot to drink. How about that? KG was on MCR yesterday. Great stream. Yeah, I know he's been on a lot of YouTubers. We haven't quite got him onto this channel yet, but we may end up having him. We'll see. QQ says, no, the KG SAC being the IMD wallet coins, WD and FDW, the 1 day period just started, says QQ. Zen is flying, says lies beneath. Yeah, well, we just moved away from the Zen price, but I guess you keep watching the Zen price. The next 2 days could be pretty on fire for the old Zen there. We'll see. All right, so Hex at the moment is at 1.924 cents. We don't seem to have the roulettes active yet, but like I say, I may very well come on later on in the day, maybe either with and do a little quick coverage of the roulette launch there. We will see how we get on there. Hope you guys have enjoyed the live stream. That's 2 hours. Peace out. 2 hours. Woo! I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button, hit the bell. If you're watching this after the live stream, leave some comments. I always get to those. And of course, you can join our Discord. Links in the video description. We're always there. And of course, great community leaders in there as well, help you out. If you like good info, good community. The other thing, of course, if you want to join the channel as a supporter of this channel, we know we're streaming consistently, bull market or bear market. then hit the join button. We've got Pulse Skins, Hex Skins, the Rich Art Club. Just a really cool way of supporting your channel over long term, of course. Fat Sam says, take care all. Yeah, definitely, Fat Sam. Appreciate it. One of our community leaders. Big shout out to you. All right, I'm going to play out a few little fun videos on the way up. I'll catch you guys possibly later on. Enjoy yourself. Take care. And I will catch you again soon. Bye for now. All right, let's play out some of these things. There's a couple of different excerpts. Hope you enjoy them. Rock and roll. All right.
Pickups here, got some amazing robot action. Check out the move Tristan has planned. So we're here on the magic wall of Richard Hart. Tristan, go ahead and show them the move. It's this like smash, right? So it like moves really quick, which for like a camera, it's very fast. We're gonna do playback here so you can see it on the screen. What we're doing is showing you the hex.com website, but then the camera just flies in right on that 38% yield. Wow! Look at that. That is movie magic, my friends.
Pretty epic.
It's a little awkward on camera. It's his first time on social media. Isn't it cute?
Okay.
It's cute.
All right. I almost forgot the poll. Hey, this is how we roll on this channel. Okay, so the poll, fun poll. Hex sale continues before Pulsechain, not financial advice. Hell yeah, I'm buying 50% out of 135 votes. That's awesome. 50% looking to buy some Hex. Nice one. I might buy more DCAs, 22%. So we got to 72%. And of course, not buying at the moment, 22%. And of course, this crypto world is strange, lol. 4%. Good to see some people pulling that out. That is true. So nice there. We've got a lot of retail book going to continue to buy Hex, dollar cost average. Pretty exciting there. That was at least 7 out of 10 people there. Very, very nice. All right. I thought I'd play that one out. Almost forgot a poll again. I love polls, but I forget about them all the time. Just the way it goes. Alex says, let the record show I called 1 cent Hex 6 months ago, says Alex. Prepare for under penny, says Alex there. Definitely dollar cost averaging is an opportunity. Brendan says, cheers. Hey, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. All right, take care now. I'm going to play out a few more videos. Like I said, let's go.
You cannot have anything centralized. Anything centralized. Not your coin, not your key, not your Bitcoin, not your anything. You need to have your keys. You don't know how these guys that you think are smart and they have this curly hair, they look like fantastic computer geeks from the next dimension, and then they are wolves. I saw this tweet on Twitter just a few hours ago that, you have all these smart people, you think they're fantastic, they're brilliant, they're admired by the whole industry, suddenly they rug pull, suddenly they take your money. I mean, it's horrible. That's why you cannot trust anyone.
Tether crashing, I will say you never rule anything out these days, but I'm a lot more confident in Tether than almost any other project. A lot of the other coins and projects and chains out there that are going to crack from this, Tether's probably not one of them.
What about Hex?
What about Hex?
I'll tell you this. This is what I'll tell you about Hex. Look, you guys know we've always been neutral on Hex here on the channel. So many people that called out Richard Hart and said he's a scammer. So many people. Alex Mashinsky. I don't know if SBF did, but how many people have gone down and have actually turned out to be scammers that were calling Richard Hart a scammer the whole time? He's managed to last a long time in this business compared to a lot of these other people that he'd been calling out. Did you see the Bengals guy cry?
No.
Oh,
That doesn't sound.
yeah.
like
I think it was
something I wanna
yesterday.
see. Oh, no.
He cried on air.
Like, was it over what?
Well, Richard Hart says because of his tweet.
Oh,
Richard Hart says it was because he basically tweeted hello because I don't know who it was that they were promoting. Maybe it was BlockFi. I mean, look at Peter McCormick. He was all over BlockFi, right?
Yeah, a lot of people were.
A lot of people were. And I hold nothing against these people for this stuff.
Yeah.
But the Bengals guy was like, it wasn't Ryan Sean Adams, my favorite glasses wearing best friend.
Yeah.
It was
David Hoffman.
David Hoffman. Because he's just so sad over the fact, like, I feel like you can't
Trust anybody.
Can't trust anything.
Yeah, no,
can't
it
trust
is.
anybody. And I
It
understand
is
the
sad.
sentiment.
Yeah.
And they're another, they called out Richard Hart for this, that, and this, that. Peter McCormick's done it, this, that. But yet they were promoting things that turned out to be scams before anything's happened to Richard Hart. So this is what I'm saying. People in glass houses don't throw stones. I don't, I know Richard, I like him. We went to a concert together, I like him as a person.
I like.
We're not investing in Hex.
Moments later.
Here in my $3,000 Valentino Rockstud purse, my $3,000 Prada jacket, $2,000 Prada shirt, $2,000 or $3,000 Prada pants, Prada glasses, Prada hat, Prada bracelet, and it's all Prada, 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 Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off. Prada, 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 Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.